Chapter 4794. That's weird. What's going on? The Snow Wolf King looked at everyone, as if he was asking for help. Umph. The Xianxian Supreme Sage snorted coldly. A light that was brighter than the sun shone. His body quickly dimmed, and turned into a silhouette. Then the silhouette dissipated and disappeared. The saints all left. The Rapid Cherry Grand Sage whispered, "Fire Phoenix King." "Yes, I'm here." The Fire Phoenix King, who was pretending to fly, quickly retracted her wings and replied, "If you have nothing to do, can you come with me to the Huatian realm? I have something to discuss with you," the Rapid Cherry Grand Sage said. His gaze fell on the saint ranking that disappeared. He was clearly distracted. Nothing. The Fire Phoenix King hurriedly replied. "I have nothing to do recently." The Rapid Cherry Grand Sage looked apologetic. He retracted his attention and said to the Fire Phoenix King, "Why don't you send a message first? I'll wait for you." The Fire Phoenix King hurriedly flapped her wings and said, "No need. All the saints are going to find these 7 great saints. I'm sure you'll send a phoenix envoy. The Phoenix God Palace won't send one. The left and right phoenix envoys are phoenixes of the Phoenix Sacred Realm." Humph. The Phoenix King had already flown out. Hearing the Fire Phoenix King's words, she snorted coldly and said, "The Phoenix God Palace is the Phoenix God Palace. The Phoenix God Palace is the Phoenix God Palace. Fire Phoenix King, you're overthinking it." "Yes," the Rapid Cherry Grand Sage said with concern. The 9 saints entering the demon realm must have caused a huge uproar. All the spirit clans are dealing with it. The Phoenix clan should be no exception. You can return to the Phoenix Sacred Realm yourself. No need. The Fire Phoenix King laughed. 2 of the 9 saints are great saints of the Phoenix clan. If they have evil intentions, I, as a great saint, am no match for them. If they don't have evil intentions, I'll welcome them. The other spirit clans are dealing with it. I don't have to. Since you're going to the Huatian realm, it must be for the sake of the spirit clans. That's the most important thing now. I'll go with you." The Rapid Cherry Grand Sage smiled. A faint moonlight appeared on his face. After that, the Fast Cherry Grand Sage flew away like a beam of light. The Fire Phoenix King flapped her wings and followed him. Umph. The Radiant Phoenix King snorted coldly. Multicolored light surged and flew far away as well. All the saints went off to execute their own mystiques. Under the clear light, only the Snow Wolf King was a little hesitant. She carefully looked at where the clear light flashed, then looked thoughtfully in the direction where the swift Sakura Grand Sage had disappeared. She even looked in the direction where the colorful Phoenix King had left. A cold smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Then she hurriedly left. Under the lead of Feng Wu and Huang Tong, Xiaohua quickly arrived at the Blue Jade Sea. This Jade Azure Sea was different from the 4 seas of the 4 great continents. The sky above the sea was filled with whirlwinds. The whirlwinds collided with each other and formed many whirlpools in the sky. These whirlpools were of different sizes, and they all produced an extremely strong suction force that tore everything in the sky apart. How could the surface of the sea be calm when there was wind in the sky? Turbid waves rose into the sky and hit the shore. The wind and waves were hundreds of feet high, blocking the vision of Xiaohua and the others. What was special was that the seawater of the Blue Jade Sea was not green, but orange. It was extremely turbid. An inexplicable aura came from the seawater, making it difficult for ordinary humans to get close. Xiaohua released his divine sense. Within tens of thousands of miles, there were no fishes or shrimps. There were mostly mud and turbid objects. Occasionally, there were some strange sea beasts sleeping at the bottom of the sea. Their powerful aura passed through the seawater and covered the nearby sea area. This barren land is nothing more than this. Xiaohua sighed and said to the celestial being, Taoist witch and the others, fellow Taoists, the 10,000 demon realm is a place with many strong cultivators. Since we have been detected by the demon clan, we have to be prepared. I remember that the 10,000 demon realm is the same as the immortal realm. Soul cultivation is a forbidden technique. So Taoist witch, please return to the space to cultivate. Demon venerable sure. Haha, no need to say more. Return to the space and stay there. Fellow celestial being, you have to work harder. try to refine the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper before we return to the Dawn Rain continent. Who knows, we might need it when we break the formation. The rest of you can come with us. The celestial being, Taoist witch, and demon venerable sure entered the space. Immortal Yin thought for a moment and said, "Forget it, I will also enter the space. After all, the dragon clan is rare in the 10,000 demon realm. I don't want to cause trouble for you." Xiaohua smiled and said, "If you say so, I can't reveal myself. How about this?" Immortal Thunderbolt laughed and said, "We will return to the space to rest. Fellow Taoist Xiao and fellow Taoist Huang Tong will go to the Huatian realm together. If fellow Taoist Xiao thinks it's okay, you can transform into the form of Feng Wu to deceive others. Feng Wu has become a great saint. Huang Tong can't escape. Immortal Yin has become a great saint. I can't escape either." Xiaohua smiled and said, "But I am a little curious. How did the saint ranking find out our names? If I change my name to Xiaoming now, won't I be able to escape from the saint ranking? But the question is, will fellow Taoist Xiao change your name?" Immortal Yin asked with a smile. Xiaohua shrugged and replied, "I want to try and see if the saint ranking changes." "Oh right." Feng Wu said, "Fellow Taoist Xiao, there are some descendants of the golden-winged rock entrusted to I in the Shenhua continent. When we fly to the place where the spirit clan gathers, we must find a suitable place to send them out." "That's right." Immortal Yin also said, "The descendants of Dragon Island and the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas should also be sent away as soon as possible." Xiaohua nodded and said, "I already have a plan. The humans, demons, and oceanic clans that we brought with us are too many. If we were to be placed in the territory of the spirit clan, we will definitely attract attention and inevitably bring disaster to them. I see a lot of grayish-white at the edge of the boundary. I think it must be a place where the spirit clan seldom visits. Why don't we leave some seeds there for the living beings of the 3 continents?" "Good." Immortal Yin nodded and said, "Fellow Taoist, you are the most experienced in this matter. I'll leave it to you." After saying that, Immortal Yin flew into the void. Immortal Thunder, Feng Wu, and the others did not hesitate and also flew into the void. "Fellow Taoist Huang Tong." Xiaohua looked at Huang Tong, who was using her boundary sense to explore, and said with a smile, "I don't know the way, so please lead the way." Huang Tong opened her mouth and swallowed the phoenix feather, then said, "Fellow Taoist, don't worry. Please follow me." After saying that, Huang Tong flapped her wings and rushed into the wind and waves. It took the phoenix emissary of the Phoenix Palace 5 years to pass through the Jade Ocean, and she suffered a great loss. Xiaohua and Huang Tong naturally did not need so much time, but it only took them slightly more than 2 years to reach the clear water region, where the leopard whale king of the oceanic clans was located. Huang Tong took out her boundary sense and confirmed it again. Then she said to Xiaohua, "Xiaohua, this is the clear water region, but there is no indication of the location of the spatial portal in my boundary sense." "Yes, according to Phoenix Emissary number 9 and the boundary sense, this place is not far from the seaside." Xiaohua turned his head and looked at the towering waves, and then at the misty water vapor. He smiled bitterly and said, "This Jade Ocean is indeed amazing. From the boundary sense, the closest distance to this place is from the edge of the Bobo wasteland. And according to the experience of the Phoenix Palace, this route is also the most reliable and safest. But even so, in these 2 years, we might have encountered 4 sea beasts at the peak of 9th grade, and 1 flying beast at the 10th grade, right?" "That's right." Huang Tong's face was also filled with bitterness as she answered, "I have the deepest impression of these 4 sea beasts. They have different divine abilities and they are arrogant. They are not at a disadvantage when fighting against us. Although we have spared them a few times, they still forced us, and we had no choice but to kill them. That flying beast at the 10th grade. How should I put it? I think it has lived for millions of years. Otherwise, it would not be so powerful that even the 2 of us together could not defeat it. Even the spirit-slaying Yuan light that never failed could not kill it. Fortunately, you released the other cultivators from the space and scared this guy away. If he still did not leave, you and I would be in trouble." "No choice, These sea beasts and flying beasts are not of the spirit clan, and do not have much spiritual intelligence. But in this unique world of the 10,000 demon realm, to be able to cultivate divine abilities that are more powerful than the spirit clan's great sage, they should be called Renrue in our human race. Normally, when I meet them, I will avoid them. I am afraid it is not auspicious to kill them. Xiaohua smiled and said, from the looks of it, this Jade Ocean is no less dangerous than the Bo Wasteland. It cannot be compared to the 4 seas of the 4 great continents. Previously, I thought that Phoenix Emissary and the others took 5 years, and we only needed half a year. But I did not expect that not only are the sea beasts ferocious, but there are also many space traps on the surface of the sea. Our escape techniques cannot be fully activated. This is not a big deal. We seem to have not met the space beasts that Phoenix Emissary number 9 mentioned. They are the enemies that I am most afraid of meeting. Huang Tong also sighed. Of course, only in such a dangerous world, there are great sages who have surpassed the 9th level of elemental power. Okay, I will release the Phoenix Emissaries from the Phoenix Shrine, and let them find the space door themselves. We will just escort them to the place. Xiaohua said and took out the Kunlun mirror. He first released Fengwu, then released Phoenix Emissary number 9 and the others. Phoenix Emissary number 9 and the others saw that they had arrived at the clear water region, and were overjoyed. They thanked Fengwu respectfully, and still wanted to invite Fengwu to the Phoenix Shrine. But how could Xiaohua and the others agree? Huang Tong flapped her wings and said, you all go back to the Phoenix Shrine and tell the colorful Phoenix King that I have received her kindness. If fate allows it, I will definitely visit her. Today we really have urgent matters, so we will not disturb you. Sorry, I edited it last night and did not have time to upload it. I did not pay attention when I was writing in the morning. Make up for it. Because there are not many chapters left recently, I will not update at night. Chapter 4795. For 2 hours, Xiaohua looked into the distance and did not say anything. Fengwu and Reverend Yin did not say anything either, and just waited quietly. As for Buddha Mithreya, he kept his mouth shut, as he knew Xiaohua would make a decision in the end. Sure enough, when Xiaohua retracted his gaze from the blue ocean in the distance, he said softly, yes, Reverend Yin is right. Humans always have to make progress. Being under the protection of others is like a flower in a greenhouse, never able to experience the wind and rain, never able to grow. Then, Xiaohua raised his hand and pointed at a place in the distance, saying, I remember there is a flat place with a circumference of more than 1,000 miles where we passed by just now. This flat place is sheltered by mountains and ancient trees. It can be the refuge of our human race. Oh, Reverend Thunderbolt asked curiously, just a flat place is enough? Could it be that fellow Taoist Xiao already has other ideas? Indeed. Xiaohua smiled. Fellow Taoists, I presume you haven't seen the big cities of cultivators on Dawnrain continent? If we can build a big city on this flat place, and deploy a capital star formation near it, I think we can protect the safety of these descendants of the human race. A big city of cultivators. Reverend Thunderbolt shook his head. Of course I haven't seen it, but I've seen the city walls of Confucian cultivators. They are so small that they don't have any defensive power. Fellow Taoist, instead of building a big city, why not build a magic formation? The magic formation is the gift we give them. Xiaohua said in a relaxed tone, as he already had an idea. But this big city is the foundation for them to establish their lives. Namo Mithreya, I get it now. Buddha Mithreya said with a smile. They can't control the magic formation, but the big city can be strengthened and rebuilt. Or perhaps, when they are strong enough in the future, they can also deploy a magic formation in the big city. Bodhisattva's action is to teach people how to fish. I'm ashamed, but it was your reminder that made me think of this. Xiaohua explained. Besides, I think that since we humans have come here, there is no need to divide ourselves into Taoists, Confucians, and Buddhas. We can just mix together. All he had to do was to divide them into different areas within the city of 1,000 miles, so that they could cultivate on their own. When they are strong enough in the future, they can go out alone and build the city. Of course. Fengwu chuckled. I presume you didn't release the black bear and the others because you were planning to protect the human race, right? At that time, I was thinking of having He Xiong and the others protect my Fortune Gate's disciples. Since we're together now, we might as well protect them together. Xiao Hua doesn't hide his thoughts and says, this poor Taoist will release the Immortal Palace's immortal generals and Thunder Monastery's protectors, and listen to their opinions. If they are willing, then we will do it this way. We will quickly help them build the city. If they aren't willing, then follow us to Dawn Rain Continent. All right. All the saints agreed. Their bodies moved slightly as they flew in all directions to explore the terrain of the mountains and prepare to set up the formation. Actually, with their strength, there was no need for them to go there personally. They could just scan the area with their divine sense. However, thinking that this was the 1,000-year plan of the human race, and Xiao Hua attached great importance to it, they didn't dare to be negligent and carefully checked. Seeing that his clones left, Xiao Hua took out the Kunlun mirror. First, he asked the immortal generals and protectors to come out. These humans were different from the demon race and the dragon race. Their bodies fell into the 10,000 demon realm, but there were no special changes. Some of the immortal generals even felt extremely uncomfortable when they used their techniques. Xiao Hua was not in a hurry to explain everything. First, he let them adapt to the 10,000 demon realm's origin energy. After half an hour, seeing that Feng Wu and the others were standing around, he explained the situation of the 10,000 demon realm. Then he looked at the Confucian cultivators and Buddhist disciples and said, this old man has followed the previous agreement with immortal Emperor Go Chun, the 4 great clans, the 100 schools of thought, and the Vairocana revered Buddha to bring you to the 10,000 demon realm. However, the danger of the 10,000 demon realm is far beyond this old man's expectations. Therefore, this old man will give you an additional choice. If you are willing, you can follow this old man to the Dawn Rain Continent. Although that is where the Tao sect is prosperous, it is still the human race's world. You will not be eaten by the demonic beasts here. Of course, if you don't want to go, this old man can still help you build a city here and lay down a grand formation outside the city. This will be your and my Fortune Gate's disciples' place to settle down in the future. Oh. One of the immortal generals was a little surprised. Master Xiaolei, the Fortune Gate's disciples, are not going to follow Master Xiaolei to the Dawn Rain Continent? Isn't that where the Tao sect is prosperous? Why are they not going there? Xiao Hua smiled. This old man is not sure yet. After a while they will also have to make a choice. If the Fortune Gate is also in this big city, will we be divided into different areas? A Buddhist protector asked. Xiao Hua nodded. Yes, this old man has just said it. The immortal generals and Buddhist protectors discussed for a moment and replied. Good, Taoist Xiao knows that we are willing to stay here. Good. Xiao Hua did not delay and agreed. He ordered his avatars to set up the capital star formation and Pleiades devil-devouring immortal formation. Then he released the Confucian cultivators and Buddhist sect disciples from the Kunlun immortal realm. After they had gathered, he released the Fortune Gate disciples from the Shenhua continent and some puppets to help the Confucian cultivators and Buddhist sect disciples build a big city. Building a formation and a big city naturally could not be done in a day. After more than a month, the capital star formation and Pleiades devil-devouring immortal formation were gradually completed. The Thunderbolt Taoist and other avatars stopped and taught some Fortune Gate disciples to familiarize themselves with the formation. They began to display their abilities, and each took charge of a part of the big city. More than a month later, the big city was about to be completed. The Confucian cultivators and Buddhist sect disciples were already familiar with the 2 formations. Xiao Hua flew to the side and released Li Xiong, Xiong Yi Black Bear Spirit, White Lion and Golden Eagle. When the Black Bear Spirit, White Lion and Golden Eagle landed in the 10,000 demon realm, their bodies naturally grew. They were pleasantly surprised to see the unfamiliar 10,000 demon realm. They were so happy that they could not speak. Xiao Hua looked at Li Xiong and Xiong Yi who were not used to it and patiently explained the situation in the 10,000 demon realm to them. Then he said, the Confucian cultivators and Buddhist sect disciples have decided to stay in the 10,000 demon realm. What are your choices? Li Xiang and Xiongyi smiled bitterly and said, Master, you are the Fortune Gate's sect master. We will choose whatever you say. Sigh. Xiaohua looked at the two disciples and sighed. This old man is tired. Let this old man be lazy for once. This is related to your survival. Why don't you two make a choice? Actually, Master. Xiongyi smiled and said, It's not hard to choose. When this disciple left the 3 continents with Master, wasn't the purpose of leaving behind the inheritance for the Fortune Gate. There is no difference between staying in the 10,000 Demon Realm and Dawnrain continent. Master's wish and senior brother's wish can be fulfilled. The Confucian cultivators and Buddhist sect disciples chose to stay in the 10,000 Demon Realm because they are afraid that they will be destroyed by our Dao sect. Rather than that, they might as well stay here. Or maybe they have received orders from immortal Emperor Go Chun and Virokana revered world that they can only stay in the 10,000 Demon Realm. They are strictly not allowed to go to the Dawnrain continent? Li Xiang smiled and said, Master, the heaven and earth origin energy in the 10,000 Demon Realm is very strange. When this disciple absorbs it into his body, it is very harmful to his nascent soul. This is extremely disadvantageous to our Dao sect's cultivation. Haha, you don't have to worry about this. The Lightning Master laughed and said, This old man has refined some pills that can help you deal with this strange heaven and earth origin energy. Master, Li Xiang replied, Dealing with it is only temporary. It cannot be eradicated. Our Dao sect disciples will not be able to adapt to such a harsh environment without several generations of effort. Our Fortune Gate disciples' current strength may not be able to withstand it. Rather than that, it is better to go to the Dawnrain continent. Oh, you all want to go to the Dawnrain continent? Xiaohua was a little surprised. Xiongyi also seemed to understand and nodded. Indeed, our Dao sect is different from Confucianism and Buddhism. This place is not suitable for our Dao sect disciples to cultivate. We do not have to be like them and insist on staying in the 10,000 Demon Realm. We have a better choice. Since he already said that he wanted to let Xiongyi and Li Xiang make their own choice, Xiaohua also repeatedly respected their opinions. He nodded and said, All right then. Since you guys want to go to the Dawnrain continent, then this old man will send you guys to the Dawnrain continent. Then Xiaohua said to the Black Bear, Golden Eagle, and White Lion, What do you all think? The Golden Eagle and White Lion were a little hesitant and looked at the Black Bear spirit. The Black Bear spirit smiled and said, Master, this 10,000 Demon Realm is the paradise of our demon race. Although we are demon race, we are also Fortune Gate disciples. Since Li Xiang and Xiongyi cannot stay in the 10,000 Demon Realm, we are willing to stay in the 10,000 Demon Realm and bring the Fortune Gate's foundation to the 10,000 Demon Realm. Good. Xiaohua nodded and said with a smile, The Dawnrain continent is a human's continent. There is no demon race. It is not convenient for you all to go there. Why don't you all stay here? Thank you, Master. The Black Bear, Golden Eagle, and White Lion were all happy. However, after Xiaohua, Xiongyi, and Li Xiang were sent into the space and released from the Fortune Gate, the Black Bear suddenly knelt on the ground and said to Xiaohua, Master, why are you here? Xiaohua hurriedly helped the Black Bear up, but the Black Bear kowtowed and cried, Master, this Black Bear is the Black Bear who guards your cave. Wherever you go, this little one will follow. This little one knows that staying in the 10,000 Demon Realm to help Master build the Fortune Gate is very honorable, and this is what this little one should do, but this little one does not want to leave Master. This little one wants to guard the cave for Master. Please forgive this little one for not having ambition. I have failed to live up to Master's expectations. Chapter 4796. Xiaohua looked at the Black Bear spirit, his eyes slightly red, not knowing how to answer. The Black Bear spirit was in the limelight at Blackwind Ridge, and was considered a capable assistant to Xiaohua. He had helped Xiaohua a lot with Qin Xiaoyao, but as Xiaohua's cultivation sword, the Fortune Gate strength sword, and the Black Bear spirit was no longer outstanding, not to mention Qin Xiaoyao. The Black Bear spirit was able to follow Xiaohua to the upper realm, But Qin Xiaoyao stayed in the soaring Dragon Mountain range, and now Xiaohua didn't even know his cultivation. However, a person's life also seemed to be like this. Many people at different times were eye-catching embellishments, and even dazzling protagonists, but as time passed, they were reduced to passers-by. For Qin Xiaoyao, Xiaohuaru's attention to him at this time was probably a kind of flattery to kill him. As for the black bear spirit, Xiaohua would occasionally compare him to Yuan Tong Tian, Six-Eared Macaque, and even Prince Lan. Xiaohua was grateful for the black bear spirit's loyalty, and wanted to give him more opportunities, and this 10,000 demon realm was an excellent opportunity. Don't worry, Xiaohua smiled. This old man left you here not because I don't want you anymore, but because I want to give you a chance to become a demon king. Black Bear, it's not that this old man wants to criticize you, but your strength is actually much weaker than the golden eagle and white lion. You borrowed this old man's light to become the boss of the 3 demon kings. Moreover, this old man knows your loyalty, and has been thinking about raising your strength all these years, but your foundation is shallow, and you are similar to Xiongyi and the others. No matter how much you raise your strength, you will not be able to compete with Ao Sheng and Jiang Hong. And this 10,000 demon realm is the demon race's holy land. It is the best place for you to raise your strength and be reborn. As long as you cultivate here for 10,000 years, with the things this old man left you, you will definitely reach the height of a Sun Realm Master, which is the realm of the 3 continents 9th grade. Master. The black bear spirit was still kneeling on the ground, unwilling to get up, and begged. Even if this little one cultivates to the Sun Realm, 9th grade, 10th grade, what about Master? Are you in the 10,000 demon realm? This. Xiaohua rubbed his nose, feeling that his nose was sour, and his heart was filled with complex feelings. He said in a low voice, Master still has other things to do. Moreover, even if Master brings you to Dawn Rain Continent, Master still can't be by your side. Master will have to leave this realm in the end. Black Bear, this is a choice. It's a helpless choice in life. Not waiting for Xiaohua to finish speaking, the black bear spirit interrupted Xiaohua's words in a rare instance and said anxiously, Master, this lowly one doesn't want any choice. This little one doesn't know the consequences. Master knows the consequences of every choice I make. Master gave me this choice to make things difficult for me. To shout to Master to be to the point, to the demon king, to the demon, to the. Namomethria Buddha, Sai Black Bear is right. Although Namomethria Buddha was setting up the array with his doppelgangers in the distance, he knew the situation clearly. He couldn't help but lament in Xiaohua's heart. They don't know the consequences of making a choice, but we know the consequences of making a choice. Although we gave them the right to make a choice, we're actually making it difficult for them. Xiaohua shook his head. This is different. We can take over the ordinary choices, but we still have to listen to them when it comes to the crucial choices. Then Xiaohua looked at the black bear spirit and said, You should know that this old man will ascend soon. In fact, if it wasn't for the world-destroying mayfly in the 3 continents, this old man can ascend now. Once this old man leaves this realm, you have no way to follow this old man. Master. The black bear spirit knelt there, snot and tears running down his face as he begged. This little one has never told you, but this little one knows clearly in his heart that this little one is extremely lowly. Not only can this little one not compare to Brother Liu, I can't compare to Jiang Hong, I can't even compare to the golden eagle and white lion. This little one was born in a very inconspicuous place in the 1,000 demons sacred realm. When this little one left the 1,000 demons sacred realm, I don't even remember what that place was called. This little one was bullied by the same race there. This little one couldn't even straighten his back. Later, this little one was bewitched by a human Confucian cultivator and traveled thousands of miles from the 1,000 demons sacred realm to the hidden immortal continent, to the Yu province's Black Wind Ridge. Before seeing Master, this little one always thought that this path was the result of this little one's own choice, the result of this little one's own strength. However, after seeing Master, this little one realized that no matter what choice, no matter how hard he worked, it was all arranged by someone else. This little one carried the stigma of a so-called demon king. and became someone else's chess piece. However, Master, you didn't despise this little one. Although you let this little one guard the cave abode for Master, in reality, you treated this little one as an equal. This little one knows clearly. At that time, this little one was really happy and wanted to do things for Master and win glory for Master. Back then, to be honest with Master, this little one relied on Master to become the leader of the 3 demon kings. This little one was very nervous. This little one knew that Master didn't like people using Master's name to do things, so this little one tried his best to cultivate, not daring to tarnish Master's name. After that, Master also gave this little one many benefits, but this little one didn't live up to your expectations. This little one isn't any cultivation material, and also doesn't have any ambitions. To be able to meet Master in this life is this little one's fortune. This little one really doesn't ask for anything else. As long as this little one can accompany Master, this little one will definitely accompany Master. When Master ascends, no matter where Master is after Master leaves, this little one will make a big cave abode with Master's statue inside. Then this little one will make a small cave outside the cave abode. This little one is lazy, and may not kowtow to Master every day, but this little one will definitely guard outside Master's cave abode, day and night, guarding the cave abode for Master at all times. Xiaohua's eyes were moist again. He opened his mouth, but words of comfort, words of encouragement, seemed to have turned into nothingness in front of the black bear spirit. He only nodded slightly. "Thank you, Master." The black bear spirit grinned and jumped up from the ground. He laughed, tears overflowing from the bear's eyes. "Master." The golden eagle and white lion at the side didn't know what to do, so they could only ask in a low voice. "Everyone has their own path." Xiaohua waved his hand and said, "Your aptitudes are better than the black bear spirit. In the future, stay here and be demon kings." "Yes, Master." The golden eagle and white lion knelt down and kowtowed. "We definitely won't dare to disgrace Master's name." At this time in the distant sky, a faint brilliance flashed. The Celestials had already activated the Kunlun mirror, and sent the Fortune Gate disciples building the city into the Shenhua continent. Moreover, the Lightning Taoist and the others rushed into the sky, each standing at a different part of the capital star array and plentiful sun demon devouring immortal array. Their hands formed seals, and magic power fell on various parts of the array like dragons. A loud rumble sounded, and brilliant light like waves crashed in all directions within 1,000 li wherever the light passed. The city that was built over several months was gradually covered by the light. After a few breaths, the city was gone, and the slightly flat terrain from before was revealed in the light. Xiaohua's divine sense swept over and knew that the matter was done. It was time to leave. Thus he nodded at the golden eagle, white lion, and the others. He wanted to say something again, but when he thought about it, the golden eagle and white lion were not ordinary demonic beasts. They were already demon kings in the 1,000-beast sacred territory, and here, they would be like fish in water. Thus he did not need to say much. Thus he only said, "Okay, you all pay attention to your own safety. This lowly one understands." From these few words, the golden condor and white lion could feel Xiaohua's deep concern. They instantly understood the reason behind the black bear spirit's choice, and their hearts were filled with regret. Unfortunately, when they raised their heads, the black bear spirit was gone, Li Xiang was gone, Xiaomi was gone, and Xiaohua and the others were nowhere to be seen. The only ones left in front of them were the Fortune Gate's disciples. "Master!" The golden eagle and white lion shouted as if they had lost something. However, in the howling wind in the sky, there was no response. Sigh, why bother? The thunderbolt venerable, who had already flown far away, could sense that Xiaohua was in a bad mood. He sighed and said, "Wouldn't it be better to take them all into the Shenhua continent? If it was that simple, fellow Taoist Xiao wouldn't have to go through so much trouble." Feng Wu explained, "You and fellow Taoist Xiao are both Taoist cultivators, while we are from the demon race, devil race, Confucian sect and Buddhist sect. If these Fortune Gate disciples are outside of this space, they will naturally have the fortune to ascend. However, if they are inside the Shenhua continent, their fates will not be governed by the laws of heaven and earth of the 4 great continents. No one knows what their future will be like. Then what should we do? The Thunderbolt Venerable was distressed when he heard this, and his face was filled with reluctance. Don't tell me. We have to send all the Shenhua continent disciples to the other 3 continents? The fortune gate on the Shenhua continent was not so much created by Xiaohua as it was by the Thunderbolt Venerable. The Thunderbolt Venerable had poured more effort into these disciples than Xiaohua, and he could not help but be concerned about their future. I will also be very conflicted. Xiaohua himself did not have an answer, and could only smile bitterly. Because we are about to ascend, the change in the laws of heaven and earth. I don't know if it will affect the Shenhua continent. If it was before I met Senior Suji, I would not hesitate to let them, and even let Lu Yi and the others stay in the Shenhua continent. However, the change in the laws of heaven and earth, and the infusion of immortal qi, all have unpredictable variables. I cannot guarantee that the Shenhua continent will not change, so I am very afraid that the entire space will be destroyed and reformed, as Senior Su said. Give a monthly vote, a recommendation vote, a bookmark, a tip, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 4797. That shouldn't be the case. Feng Wu answered without hesitation. After all, Shenhua continent has been to the upper realm before. That's old news. Xiaohua stopped Feng Wu and shook his head. When we went to the upper realm, it was because of the heavenly prison. It was different from the laws of heaven and earth. Ascension is a process of transformation. Who can guarantee that the changes in the laws of heaven and earth won't affect Shenhua continent? Then, fellow Taoist, how do you plan to decide the fate of Shenhua continent's fortune gate disciples? Let them choose for themselves? Huang Tong's words hit the nail on the head. She looked at Xiaohua meaningfully. Sigh. Xiaohua sighed deeply. I can't let them choose. Needless to say, no matter who faces death, they will find the dawn of life. Namo Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha chanted. So Bodhisattva's choice is to send all the people of Shenhua continent to Dawn Rain continent. To be honest, Xiaohua answered. I really want to, but I don't dare. Sigh, of course you don't dare. Thunderbolt Immortal said. That's hundreds of millions of people. If you send them out, it will be more than all the cultivators of Dawn Rain continent combined. Xiaohua touched his nose and said. This is my confusion and worry. Let's take it one step at a time. Thunderbolt Immortal was also helpless. After fellow Taoist entered the 10,000 demon realm, didn't the laws of heaven and earth of Shenhua continent change? Maybe there will be a surprise in the future. I hope so. In the face of the laws of the heavens and earth, Xiaohua felt that he was like an ant, and he could only resign himself to fate. As he spoke, Xiaohua took the Kunlun mirror from the celestial, but before he could activate it, the sound of bamboo suddenly resounded throughout the heavens and the earth. After that, hundreds of millions of flowers appeared out of thin air. At the same time, over 10 dragons and phoenixes appeared in midair, while waves of golden threads descended like rain from above Xiaohua and the others. The space of more than 100 miles was immediately confined. Xiaohua and many of his clones were frozen in the air. Not to mention sound, even their thoughts were difficult to move. Then, in front of Xiaohua and the others' eyes, a myriad of phenomena appeared. Whether it was farmers plowing the fields, mulberry people raising silkworms, fishermen fishing, hundreds of scholars chanting, thousands of Buddhas chanting, or the birth and death of 10,000 countries. In short, all sorts of worldly affairs and the myriad phenomena of the human world appeared before Xiaohua's eyes. In addition to the aura of the mortal world, there were also 2 dragons playing with a pearl, 9 dragons hanging in the sky, and 10,000 dragons dancing in the sky. Naturally, at the same time, a type of incense that Xiaohua had smelled earlier appeared around him. Ah! Open the heavens? Xiaohua suddenly realized that the scene in front of him was so familiar. Wasn't this the strange phenomenon that appeared when he sent the disciples of the Misty School to the valley back in the great desolate continent? Sure enough, with this strange phenomenon, the crystal-like divine spark behind Xiaohua's head began to rotate mysteriously. Every time the crystal-like divine spark rotated, it would grow a little bigger. Every time it grew bigger, The golden light that appeared was like a sharp thorn that pierced into the nearby void. Then everything that he experienced in the great desolate continent appeared again. The strange fragrance assailed his nostrils. The various discomforts that he experienced when he entered the 10,000 demon realm. The impact and comprehension of the laws of heaven and earth. The doubts that arose from the discussion in the Star Moon Palace. And the comprehension of the mysterious Yuan space profound technique brought by Huang Tong were all absorbed and digested by the strange fragrance. The origin of wood, the origin of wind, the origin of thunder, and so on also began to completely merge after an unknown amount of time. Kung kung kung. Once again, a series of sounds of bamboo pipes resounded from an unknown place. Among these sounds of bamboo pipes, pillars of Aoran Chi emerged like a sky-reaching mountain peak, and frantically fell into the void. That originally ice-cold Aoran Chi immediately became gentle. The Xiantian Chi in Xiaohua's body rushed out like a tide and merged with this Aoran Chi. Along with this Aoran Chi, the cultural history of hidden immortal continent, the cultural essence also entered the Aoran Chi. The Aoran Chi gradually came to life. Dang, dang, dang. For a moment, another sound like the ringing of a Buddhist bell came from the void. In between the ringing of the bell, countless tiny power of faith seeped into the Aoran Chi from the void, and pieces of Buddhist light drifted in like catkins. Namo Maitreya Buddha. The imprisoned Maitreya Buddha suddenly chanted, and the Dharma golden body of the future Buddha appeared. The swastika that had disappeared in the space of the 10,000 demon realm appeared again, supporting his Buddha statue. As the swastika rotated, cracks appeared on the Buddha statue of the future Buddha, and then it turned into little spots of Buddhist light. Each spot of Buddhist light was like the birth and destruction of a Buddhist kingdom, disappearing into the space of the 10,000 demon realm along with the river of faith. Roar, roar, roar. As the Buddhist light disappeared, another series of dragon roars came from the void. Thousands of dragon shadows crazily crashed into the void, and layers of dragon marks fell like falling snow. A vision even greater than the one when Reverend Yun broke the curse of the dragon clan appeared out of nowhere. Inside Reverend Yun's body, who was lying motionless in the sky, a huge Dharma image of the dragon god emerged, and all kinds of auspicious signs sank into the earth and the sky along with the dragon shadow, disappearing into every corner of the 10,000 demon realm. Boom, boom, boom. After the awe-inspiring energy, the river of faith, and the dragon marks emerged. Whether it was the natural energy, the awe-inspiring energy, or even the energy of the stars and the moon, all kinds of natural energy crashed into the space of over 100 miles, tearing apart the flying flowers. The flying flowers roared and danced in the air, turning into a hurricane that fell into the bodies of Xiaohua's mini-incarnations. After the time it took to eat a meal, when the flying flowers were all gone, the sounds, the forms, and even the light and shadows shrank and fell into Xiaohua's body crazily. Clang. The sound of a harp breaking rang out. Dong. The Buddhist bell also rang. Roar. The dragon god's shadow roared, and all the light and shadows and illusions disappeared in this sound. Finally, an indescribable light and shadow appeared out of nowhere in the 10,000 demon realm. It was so huge that it looked like the entire world. It swept across the sky and turned into a ray of golden light that fell into the crystal-like godhead behind Xiaohua's head. When this golden light fell, the crystal-like godhead that had turned into a soybean-sized godhead completely stilled and disappeared into the void in an instant. I'm ashamed. At this time, Xiaohua's body could already move. His face was full of shame as he spoke. He bowed deeply to the heavens and earth and whispered, "What virtue and ability did this Xiao have? It was just an immoral act, but it was actually rewarded by the heavens. This Xiao is really ashamed to receive it." Namo Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha also knelt on the ground and put his palms together. This disciple is really ashamed. This disciple's second transformation golden body will definitely fall into this place to spread the Buddha's light and impart the Buddha's supreme Dharma. Previously, although Xiaohua and his incarnations had high cultivation, their realms were not deep enough, and their understanding of the power of the heavens and earth was shallow. They did not understand the merit of splitting open the sky. Now that they had reached the 10th level of origin power, they had the ability to glimpse the heavens and understand the vastness of the heavens and earth. They had nothing to do, and their hearts were filled with reverence. Now that they had received the merit of splitting open the sky, how could they not know that this was a gift from the heavens? Each of them put away their arrogance and respected the heavens and earth with their hearts. After a while, Maitreya Buddha stood up. Xiaohua and the others looked at each other. Besides reverence and gratitude, they were also a little surprised. Huang Tong asked, Xiaohua, I did not participate in the matter of the upper realm of the Eldritch continent. However, Fengwu has just told me that there were no humans in the Eldritch continent at that time. You brought the disciples of the incense order from the ruins to the Eldritch continent. Not only did you inherit the orthodoxy of the Tao sect, but you also inherited the fireworks of the human race. Although you did not create humans for no reason, the merit of inheriting the incense of the human race is real. The heavens recognized it as the merit of splitting open the sky and multiplying the Godhead. However, today, although there are no humans in the 10,000 demon realm, but the 10,000 demon realm has existed for tens of thousands of years. How could the human race not appear in the 10,000 demon realm? There is also the dragon race. Although the dragon race does not exist in the 10,000 demon realm now, since the law of heaven and earth forbids the dragon race from appearing, it means that the dragon race used to exist in the 10,000 demon realm. When Reverend Yun broke the law of heaven and earth, he revealed the shadow of the sacred beast, which must be related to the disappearance of the dragon race. In that case, when we sent the human race, the dragon race, and the demon race into the 10,000 demon realm, it should not be considered as the beginning of the merit. Namo Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha nodded and said, What Tanyu thinks is also what I think. That's why I feel that the heavens and earth are really generous to us. Xiaohua thought for a while and said, Perhaps there were humans and dragons in the past, but after all, they were all annihilated later on. Now that we have brought the human race and the dragon race into the 10,000 demon realm again, and we have set up a big formation and built a big city, I think the human race and the dragon race will definitely prosper in the 10,000 demon realm in the future, and will never be annihilated again. That's why there is such a strange phenomenon, right? Huang Tong had never experienced such a rare opportunity, so it was inevitable that he would ask more questions in excitement. Although Xiaohua's answer was not very clear, Huang Tong felt that it was reasonable. When he wanted to ask something else, Xiaohua's face suddenly changed. He released his divine sense and looked to the left and whispered, Not good. Previously, when we broke through to the 10th grade in the Bo-Bo Wasteland, the 10,000 demon realm Saint ranking found out. Although the Bo-Bo Wasteland is remote, the colorful Phoenix King still sent a Phoenix emissary to welcome us. Now that we have achieved the merit of opening the sky here, and there is a strange phenomenon of heaven and earth, we might be noticed by some great saint in the 10,000 demon realm, and it might bring disaster to the human race. How can we just leave like that? That's right, Thunder Immortal nodded and said, We will stay here and observe the changes first. After that, Xiaohua and the others did not leave in a hurry. Instead, they hid their figures and stayed nearby. On one hand, they comprehended everything that they had just obtained from the merit of opening the sky, and on the other hand, they were prepared to welcome the possible changes that might come. This wait lasted for more than half a year. Chapter 4798. Seeing that nothing unusual had happened within tens of thousands of miles in the last half a year, and that the humans in the formation were already in order, Xiaohua gradually felt relieved. He smiled and said to Buddha Maitreya, Buddha Zun, and the others, Perhaps I am being paranoid. When we broke through the 10th grade of essence power, we happened to encounter the so-called saint list in the demon realm, which could engrave our names on it through the laws of heaven and earth. Now that we're opening the sky, the laws of heaven and earth should be more mysterious than the previous saint list. The great saint of the demon realm may not be aware of it. We can't stay here for long. Why don't we let Taoist which leave a soul consciousness mark in the capital star array, and we'll leave first. Once the capital star array is activated, there will be an enemy invasion. We can also come here with the method of going south and going north. Namo Maitreya. Buddha Maitreya and the others pondered for a moment, looked at Taoist Witch and smiled. It seems that's the only way. Thank you, Tanyu. Immediately, Taoist Witch and Thunder Immortal returned to the capital star array and left a soul consciousness mark. Xiaohua took out the Kunlun mirror and released the little white dragon. The little white dragon flew out of the space and immediately shouted, "Big brother, are we here?" Xiaohua was in a bad mood. He rolled his eyes at the little white dragon and said, "Even you don't know the location of the demon realm. How can I know?" The little white dragon looked around and laughed. "Big brother, who are you lying to? I don't dare to talk about other brothers, but with your handsome temperament, which female cultivator won't be impressed by your temperament? Which female cultivator won't tell you the truth when they see you? This place is obviously different from what we saw before. Big brother must have found the direction." Xiaohua looked at the little white dragon and nodded. "You know you're right. This place is already the edge of the gathering place of the spirit clan, which is the so-called spirit realm. I've finished my business and am now ready to go to the Metal and Wood Mountain. Now I want to ask if you know the location of the Metal and Wood Mountain." When Xiaobai heard this, he immediately patted his chest and said, "No problem, as long as you tell me the location, I'll tell you the location of the Metal and Wood Mountain." Xiaohua smiled slightly and threw the realm sense to the little white dragon and said, "See for yourself. This has our location and the general location of the demon realm. However, there is no such thing as the Metal and Wood Mountain. Impossible." Little white dragon's confidence was doubted, and he was a little angry. But after taking the world sense and looking at it carefully, he couldn't help but feel discouraged. This was because there were many records of the demon realm, and there were also many names of places. However, there was no record of the Metal and Wood Dual Boundary Mountain. There wasn't even a name that he was familiar with. That. Big brother, maybe I remembered wrongly? Little white dragon began to find excuses for himself. Xiaohua withdrew his realm sense and said with a smile, "We'll talk about this later. Big brother called you out to tell you something. The descendants of the various clans that Big brother brought from the 3 continents have all been arranged. What do you think we should do about the descendants of the 7-colored sea god shells, and your descendants?" She hasn't mentioned the descendant of the ancestor. It seems like she doesn't value him too much. "Big brother, just do as you see fit," Little White Dragon replied. "As for my descendants, they will naturally follow me. There is no doubt about that." "That's the problem," Xiaohua reminded. "If we go to the Dawn Rain continent, we may not be able to return to the 10,000 demon realm. And you know that the Dawn Rain continent is where the human clan is at its peak. It is far from a paradise for the demon clan like the 10,000 demon realm. You have to decide whether to stay in the 10,000 demon realm or the Dawn Rain continent." "Ouch," Little White Dragon wailed. "Why is it so troublesome?" "Now it depends on your choice." Xiaohua still habitually wanted to use the word choice, but just as he said it, he thought of the Black Bear Spirit's words. He couldn't help but take it back. After thinking for a while, he said, "It depends on what you think. Let's finish the ancestors' matter first." Little White Dragon said impatiently, "I'll go back and discuss my matter with them. We'll talk about it later." Xiaohua nodded and said, "You go back and discuss it. I'll send the descendant of the 7-colored sea god shells away first." Then Xiaohua put Little White Dragon into the space. After Taoist Witch and the Thunderbolt Immortal returned, they sent the descendant of the 7-colored sea god shells into the Azure Sea. Then, they looked at the direction and rushed to the place where the spirit clan gathered. In fact, Xiaohua's worries were not unfounded. When the heaven-splitting merit vision of the human clan in the 10,000 demon realm appeared, neither the colorful Phoenix King of the Phoenix Shrine, nor the Fire Phoenix King of the 10,000 demon realm, who accompanied the Swift Cherry Grand Sage from the Huatian realm, noticed it. However, when the last light flashed across the 10,000 demon realm, in a huge mysterious space, a human-shaped shadow that was originally sitting cross-legged suddenly appeared. This human-shaped shadow was not complete. It was scattered, and there were strange distortions between each piece. Within each piece of shadow, there were different degrees of dark light trembling. As the human figure was revealed, Countless strands of bright silver immortal chi emerged from the void and rushed into the shadows like little snakes. A moment later, a silhouette that was several thousand feet tall appeared in the space, flashing with silver light. The silhouette's silver light was so bright that it covered the face of the human figure. The aura that this figure exuded was so fierce and vast that it shook the void until it collapsed. The human figure did not hesitate at all. His hands suddenly formed a seal, and the light shadow that had just rushed through the void seemed to reverse and fell toward the hands of the human figure. However, just as the light shadow fell on the hands of the human figure, the huge hand that could annihilate the void with a wave of the hand immediately produced a roar, and the huge silver hand collapsed and disappeared rapidly. Although the huge silver hand collapsed, the moment the light shadow came into contact with the huge silver hand, layers of overlapping petals appeared. As the petals trembled, the humanistic phenomenon that Xiaohua saw also fell into the eyes of the silver figure through the light shadow. Damn it! The silver figure roared angrily, and ripples appeared in the void near him. The ripples began to explode with the sound, and the entire void collapsed with the fury of the silver figure. Seeing that the huge silver hand was completely annihilated, the silver figure's arms shook, and the light shadow that had returned to the void disappeared again. Thousands of layers of immortal spiritual chi rushed into the silver figure's arms, and a pair of huge hands slowly appeared. However, at the same time, the silver light around the silver figure flashed several times. The moment the silver light dimmed, an unusually handsome face with sword-like eyebrows flashed in the mysterious space. At the root of the eyebrows, a scarlet mark that was much smaller than a green bean was particularly obvious. Who is it? When the huge silver hand appeared, the silver figure's light shadow shone brightly, and an angry voice rose along with the collapse of the void. Who dares to snatch the heaven-splitting merit from the 10,000 demon realm before me? I came to the 10,000 demon realm with untold hardships, and just as I started to set up my plan, someone snatched it from me. All my previous efforts are now wasted. Who dares to ruin my Shin family's plans? In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, everything in the entire space, except for the silver figure, was collapsing and disappearing. When the space finally recovered, the silver light around the figure flickered rapidly again, like the breathing of a person when he was angry. The power of his voice was also much weaker. This time, my actions are very secretive. It seems that no one from the immortal tribe knows about it. Could it be the damn Jiang family? Or the Ji family, Huang family, Hong family, Wen family, or Chong family? Could it be the Punishment Palace? Punisher Heavenly Master? No, if it was the Punishment Heavenly Master, he would have already sent the punishment emissary. These Heavenly Masters, how could they know the mystery of the heaven-splitting merit? It must be the Jiang family. Could it be that before I came to the 10,000 demon realm, the Jiang family had already set up a plan in this realm? That Yunxian Grand Sage and Swift Cherry Grand Sage of the Origin clan are disciples of the Jiang family? If it's not the Jiang family, then which immortal clan is it? How could they have set up a plan before my Shin family? It's really strange. I didn't notice any abnormalities in this realm before. This immortal clan emissary hid too well. The silver figure sneered again. I don't care if you're the Jiang family, or the Ji family, Huang family, Hong family, Wen family, or Chong family. In the 10,000 demon realm, you and I are equal. Under the confinement of the laws of heaven and earth, our supernatural powers are the same. Now that you're in the light, and I'm in the dark, I will not let you succeed so easily. Then the silver figure made a gesture again, and as the immortal spiritual power rushed out, the void trembled and collapsed again. Even the silver light around the silver figure dimmed again. This phenomenon lasted for a few months, and in the end, the silver brilliance dimmed until only a thin layer of light film was left. Seeing that the silver brilliance was about to be annihilated, the silver figure suddenly let out a long breath. The brilliance was like a candle being lit, and it lit up again. The silver figure cursed unwillingly in a low voice. Damn this realm! My supernatural powers can't be activated at all. Besides, the natural virtues of creation are too obscure. The entire world is filled with the prosperity of the humankind. Who knows where exactly this life force comes from? Jihao said with a deep voice. Snow Wolf King. At this point, the silver figure shouted. The voice penetrated the void and turned into a layer of ripples before disappearing. Unfortunately, after waiting for a few days, there was no response. The silver figure became more and more furious. Damn Snow Wolf King. Why can't you do anything well? You really disappoint me. The silver figure roared in the mysterious void, and pieces of void fragments were shaved off the surface of the void like powder. Chapter 4799. Back in the day, I asked her to hunt down a little fox, but that little fox was just able to transform into a human form, and she actually lost her. Now there are other immortals in this realm, and she didn't even hear about it. I really don't know how she, the great saint of the demon realm, is doing. Is she worthy of the Shun clan's cultivation? The silver figure was roaring, and an ice-like light and shadow appeared in the space. Then tens of thousands of ice flowers that were several times more dazzling than a peacock's tail spread out, and a path of ice flowers extended out in the space. Snow Wolf King's body moved, and he stepped on the snow. Snow Wolf King. Seeing Snow Wolf King appear, the silver figure immediately roared. Where did you go? Snow Wolf King's body trembled, and he actually stopped there. He looked up at the figure that was much bigger than him, and coldly replied, Do I need to report to you where I went? You. The silver figure was furious, and raised a hand to point at Snow Wolf King. A silver thunderbolt sealed the surrounding space, and directly struck toward Snow Wolf King's forehead. Oh! Before the thunderbolt landed, Snow Wolf King's fur suddenly stood up, and he opened his mouth to howl. A thick snow-colored beam of light shot out, and it hit the silver thunderbolt. Rumble! In the huge roar, the space was split into two. One half was silver light, and the other half was snow-colored light dancing in the air. As the space trembled, a layer of distortion was born from the airwave. The two spaces completely separated the silver figure and Snow Wolf King. Immortal Envoy, are you trying to punish me? The Snow Wolf King laughed coldly as he watched the light of the silver figure in the other space disappear. Dark shadows suddenly appeared, and it was difficult to maintain the human form in the space ripples. He could not help but say, I don't know what I did wrong to make the Immortal Envoy so angry, but I still want to remind the Immortal Envoy that this is the 10,000 demon realm. Not to mention the Immortal Envoy's immortal realm, the Immortal Envoy can't even maintain his immortal body. What kind of supernatural power do you have to punish me with? Damn it. The Immortal Emissary scolded and pointed at Snow Wolf King. Snow Wolf King, don't forget your place. He. Snow Wolf King smiled and said, I am the great sage of the demon realm. This king clearly remembers this identity. Furthermore, I don't have any ambitions. This is different from the Black Dot Tiger. Even if I can't ascend to the Demon League, I can still live freely in the demon realm. You. The Immortal Emissary was a little anxious. She stared at the Snow Wolf King and shouted, Do you still remember what I told you when you were the Japanese emissary? Yeah. The Snow Wolf King looked at the Immortal Emissary in disdain and replied, Of course I remember. I'm afraid the Immortal Emissary has already forgotten. You and I are merely partners. There is no such thing as master and servant. You have no right to order me around. Furthermore, you do not have the right to punish this prince indiscriminately. The silver figure was silent for a moment. Then the silver light around his body shone brightly. Then, the space he was in quickly expanded and connected with the space where the Snow Wolf King was. When the Snow Wolf King's figure was reflected in the silver light, he said faintly, Since you don't want to join my Shun clan, then I have no other choice. I really don't understand. I don't know how many humans, demons, and sea clans want to be associated with my Shun clan, but why don't you want to? Don't you humans have a saying? Everyone has their own ambitions? The Snow Wolf King saw that the Immortal Emissary's tone had softened and was relieved. Then he changed the topic and said, I have my own ideas. You just have to follow the agreement we made that day. No matter how much I do, you will give me the same amount of benefits. All right. The silver figure sighed helplessly. If that's the case, then I won't force you. In the future, if you fail to ascend, or if you encounter any problems in the Demon League, you don't have to come to my Shen clan for help. The Snow Wolf King looked coldly at the silver figure. Instead of answering his words, he asked, I wonder what happened that caused the immortal emissary to lose his composure. Since when did humans appear in the 10,000 demon realm? The silver figure heard this and unconsciously became angry. He said anxiously, Why didn't you come and report to me? That's strange. The Snow Wolf King was even more displeased. He replied, Since when did the immortal emissary and I agree that I have to report to you when humans appear in the 10,000 demon realm? The silver figure was a bit speechless. He hesitated and said, You and I have an agreement. If there are any unusual movements in the 10,000 demon realm, you have to report to me immediately. Yes, the Snow Wolf King replied. There are indeed unusual movements in the 10,000 demon realm. Didn't I already come to report to you? And immortal emissary, don't forget this unusual movement. That day, you and I made it clear that the so-called unusual is any movement that involves the immortal realm, the Demon League, and so on. It is not a movement of the 10,000 demon realm itself. There are no humans in the 10,000 demon realm. Now, there are humans here. If they are not from the immortal realm, then where did they come from? The immortal emissary shouted in exasperation. Haha. The Snow Wolf King laughed. He looked at the immortal emissary's silver figure and said, Immortal emissary, you think too highly of the 10,000 demon realm. How can there be humans from the immortal realm in the 10,000 demon realm? Besides, the light figure projected from the immortal realm doesn't seem to be a real human, right? Oh, the immortal emissary looked nervous and said anxiously, Could it be someone from another realm? Do you know who it is? At this point, the immortal emissary stopped. He seemed to be afraid and did not want to let the Snow Wolf King know more. However, the Snow Wolf King did not care about the immortal emissary's avoidance. He replied faintly, I don't know where this human came from, but this human is already on the 10,000 demon realm's saint list. I know his name is Xiaohua. Xiaohua? The immortal emissary heard and frowned. He thought to himself, as if he was trying to recall if there were any immortal clan with the surname Xiao in the immortal realm. The Snow Wolf King could not see through the immortal emissary's thoughts. He continued, Together with Xiaohua from another realm, there are 2 from the Phoenix clan, 1 from the Dragon clan and 2 from the Spirit clan. These 6 are all listed on the saint list, and have become great sages of the 10,000 demon realm. How is that possible? The immortal emissary did not seem to recall anything. When he heard the Snow Wolf King's words, he sneered. Since when did the great sages of the 10,000 demon realm become so worthless? How can there be 6 great sages at the same time? That's not right. Why? Why is there a dragon clan? The Snow Wolf King shrugged and shook his head. I don't know either. These 6 spirit clans either came to the 10,000 demon realm a long time ago, and have been cultivating in seclusion. Now they have broken through the limit of the Sun realm, and reached the Great Sage realm, or they just crossed the realm barrier, and began to break through as soon as they came to the 10,000 demon realm. This means that the realm they are in is much lower than the 10,000 demon realm. Do you even need to say? The immortal emissary said coldly. The realms near the 10,000 demon realm are all lower in level than the 10,000 demon realm. Otherwise, how could I have come to the 10,000 demon realm? But because the realms in the 10,000 demon realm are higher in level, it is very difficult for the spirit clans in the nearby realms to enter the 10,000 demon realm, let alone survive in the 10,000 demon realm. It is very difficult, but it is not impossible. The Snow Wolf King replied. The 10,000 demon realm and the nearby devil realm, Tao celestial realm, night spirit realm also have some unstable realm passageways. It is very likely that the spirit clans came from there. Snow Wolf King, are you reminding me? The immortal emissary retracted the silver light around him when the Snow Wolf King mentioned the devil realm. No. The Snow Wolf King said firmly, I know that the immortal emissary represents the Shen clan, and the Shen clan has the ability to save the wolf ancestor from the devil realm. I only mentioned the devil realm because I mentioned the realm passageway. That's good. The immortal emissary was very satisfied and nodded. As long as you work for the Shen clan, your wolf ancestor will definitely return to the 10,000 demon realm in one piece, and even ascend to the demon alliance. The Snow Wolf King seemed to have been hit in his weak spot and whispered, I understand. That is why I am willing to work with the immortal emissary. That Xiao Hua of the human race. What does he look like? Did he bring other humans to the 10,000 demon realm? The immortal emissary could not reveal his intentions, so he could only ask indirectly. The Snow Wolf King shook his head. I did not see Xiao Hua of the human race, nor did I see the 6 Spirit Clan Great Sages that were just engraved on the saint rankings. Because other than these 6 Spirit Clan Great Sages, in the past few years, there were 3 Spirit Clan Great Sages of even stranger origins. I am afraid that this matter will affect the immortal emissary's plan. Unfortunately, before the Snow Wolf King could finish, the immortal emissary hurriedly interrupted him and shouted, What? There are 3 more great sages of unknown origins? Quick, tell me what is so strange about them. When the Snow Wolf King heard this, he understood that something must have happened in the 10,000 demon realm that he did not know about, and this matter seemed to have a lot to do with the immortal emissary's plan. She did not dare to delay, and told him about the abnormalities on the saint rankings when the demon Lord Shur, the Sky Man and the Witch Priest became great sages. The immortal emissary roared again. Damn it, this must be the work of that family. Only they would dare to reach out to the ancient war clan. Alright, if that is the case, then don't blame me for being rude. Snow Wolf King, how is the matter in the Huatian realm? Good immortal emissary, you know. The Snow Wolf King muttered in his heart, but he did not want to ask more, so he answered casually. The plan was executed smoothly, but who would have thought that there would be a change? I have already reported to the immortal emissary that the Swift Cherry Grand Sage and the Fire Phoenix King have already gone to the Huatian realm. All right. The immortal emissary was helpless and waved his hand. Let's see how the Swift Cherry Grand Sage will deal with it. Yes. The Snow Wolf King nodded. I have already sent capable subordinates to pay close attention to the situation in the Huatian realm. Chapter 4800. Sigh, Snow Wolf King. The immortal emissary reminded him. Haven't you found out who's going against you? Why are my plans going wrong one after another? If you don't find this demon, I'll consider stopping my cooperation with you. Snow Wolf King smiled. Immortal emissary, you don't have to threaten me with this. I don't believe that you didn't consider the other great sages before choosing to cooperate with me. Since you've chosen me, don't think about changing your mind. As for who's going against me, although I'm not sure, it can't escape the Great Ape King, Great Eagle King, and Divine Peacock Mother. Fine. The immortal emissary said impatiently. This is your 10,000 demon realms business. It's useless for you to tell me. The Huatian realm's plan. Stop for now, don't let them know that it's your plan. Now I'm going to give you a more important task. Immortal emissary. Snow Wolf King reminded him faintly. I've just said that you and I are not master and servant. We're just partners. The things we discussed before didn't come to a conclusion. How can there be a new cooperation? I wonder what benefits the immortal emissary can give me. Snow Wolf King. The immortal emissary sneered. Don't push your luck. Back then, I asked you to hunt down a little fox, and you let her escape to the Dao Heaven realm. Although you said that you sent your spiritual pet to hunt her down, and there's no reason for you to miss, I still haven't seen the little fox's corpse, and I haven't seen what I want. Also, what about the old ghost from the One Clan? I shattered his virtual body, but he managed to escape with a strand of his soul. You know, as long as there's a suitable body, that old ghost can easily be reborn and attack the wolf god realm again. At that time, he'll be in the dark, and you and I will be in the light. How can you deal with him? This matter is so important, but you still haven't found the whereabouts of that strand of soul. Tell me, even if I have any benefits, how can I give it to you? As for the matter of the Huatian realm, it's still the same. Now that it's messed up, what benefits can I give you? This envoy has already agreed to your conditions. Moreover, to tell you the truth, the devil world must have already taken action by now. Yet you still can't give my Shen clan a satisfactory answer. How do you expect my Shen clan to believe you? The Snow Wolf King naturally had the intention of loosening the reins only to grasp them better. Now that the time was right, he smiled and said, "In any case, once I complete the new task of the Immortal Emissary, will I fulfill our previous agreement?" "That's too easy." The Immortal Emissary understood what the Snow Wolf King was trying to say. He sneered, "You can do it very easily. Just treat it as fulfilling our agreement of 30%. 30%? Haha, Immortal Emissary, you're really interesting. Is there anything in the demon realm that's worth me taking action only worth 30%? Snow Wolf King laughed. If there's not 70%, we don't have to talk anymore. The Immortal Emissary was not in a hurry. He smiled and said, "You haven't heard it yet. How do you know it's worth 70%? What else could it be?" Snow Wolf King sneered. "Isn't it just killing that human great saint? Isn't that what you humans do all the time?" "That's true." The Immortal Emissary smiled. "Killing 6 great saints together is definitely worth 70% of the agreement." "Immortal Emissary, you're wrong. Just one human great saint is worth 70% of the agreement." Snow Wolf King said seriously, 6 great saints, I'm definitely no match for them." "Haha, but you're wrong." The Immortal Emissary smiled mysteriously and said, "When did I say I wanted you to kill a human great saint?" "Oh." Snow Wolf King was surprised. "Then what do you want me to do?" "Go to the western border of the demon realm. A large number of humans have appeared there. Kill them all. Leave no one alive." The Immortal Emissary said word by word. Snow Wolf King laughed and replied, "After the appearance of a human great saint in the demon realm, a large number of humans have appeared. Who dares to say that these humans have nothing to do with the great saints? This task is worth 80% of the agreement." 50%. The Immortal Emissary thought for a moment and said, "If you do it personally, I'll consider that you've fulfilled half of the agreement. When your spiritual pet brings back the little fox, my Shen clan will return you an intact wolf ancestor." "Good." Snow Wolf King heard and could not help but be happy. He shouted loudly, "It's a deal. I'll lead my troops to the west of the demon realm." "Good." The Immortal Emissary also clapped his hands. "It's a deal. I'll send a message to the demon realm." Snow Wolf King did not stay any longer. He stepped on the snow and rushed out of the space, leaving in a hurry. The Immortal Emissary looked at the ripples in the space after Snow Wolf King disappeared and said coldly, Damn Snow Wolf King, you dare to go against me. Do you think I can't see through your disloyalty? Do you think you can understand my Shen clan's divine ability? If not for the fact that you still have value, how could I allow you to be so rampant? Xiaohua? Which immortal clan's disciple are you?" Following this voice, the Immortal Emissary's silhouette gradually dimmed, and the entire space fell into darkness. After the Immortal Emissary's silhouette turned into a shadow, it began to scatter. Each shadow revealed a different degree of darkness and trembling. Moreover, between each shadow, there were all kinds of strange distortions that separated the space. Just like before, Xiaohua did not know that he had been noticed by the Shen clan of the Immortal Realm. He flew for dozens of days, and the desolation and bleakness gradually decreased. Like the Star Moon Palace, there were more and more spirit clans, like the spring wind blowing through the trees, gradually appeared. The spirit race was somewhat different from the spirit world in Xiaohua's space. Many of the spirit races were 30% larger than usual. Moreover, whether it was the spirits of plants or the spirits of mountains, they all looked very mature. When they spoke, they were also very polite. Xiaohua had already put Feng Wu and the others into the space, and still kept a low profile. He and Huang Tong concealed their presence and image, and inquired about the Huatian realm and the Metalwood Mountain. This was not out of Xiaohua's expectations. There was no problem with the realm knowledge given by Phoenix Emissary No. 9. The location Xiaohua found was no different from the mark of the Huatian realm in the realm knowledge. But there was still no news about the Metalwood Mountain. If it was before, Xiaohua would have gone to the Huatian realm without hesitation, and directly found the space passage to the Dawn Rain continent. But now, Xiaohua had to think again. because breaking the immortal formation required toppling the three peaks of heaven, earth and man. The 5 elements wishful heaven staff was indispensable. And Xiaohua was very eager to see what the real 5 elements wishful heaven staff looked like. So he could only find the metalwood mountain first, and then go to the Dawn Rain continent after being found by the metal and wood magnetism. After all, the metalwood mountain was the closest news to the metal and wood magnetism in so many years. After searching for dozens of days, there was still no news of the metalwood mountain. Xiaohua could only change his strategy, and began to search for the location in Little White Dragon's memory. Unfortunately, even the Gale Abyss in Little White Dragon's memory had no information. It was as if the Gale Abyss did not exist in the 10,000 demon realm. However, Xiaohua was not surprised at this time. He knew very well that even in the human race, when he was young, if he found a Jianghu person in Yuzhou and asked them if they knew the Guozhuang house, or even Lu Town, the answer he got might not be as optimistic as this. So he thought for a while, and released Little White Dragon from the Shenhua continent. Big brother. Little White Dragon saw Xiaohua, and his face unconsciously showed embarrassment, and whispered, "Little brother, cough cough, I haven't discussed it with my family yet. Bibo and the others want to stay in the 10,000 demon realm. She feels that she can't always trouble Big brother, and staying in the Kunlun immortal realm is not a long-term solution, but other things." Unfortunately, before he finished, Xiaohua waved his hand and said, "That's your family's business. It's not too late to tell Big brother when you have made a decision." At this time, Big brother called you out to ask you to help Big brother find the Gale Abyss. Ah, it can't be. Big brother. When he heard that Xiaohua was not asking him to stay in the 10,000 demon realm, Little White Dragon immediately raised his eyebrows and said, "Why haven't we found the Gale Abyss yet?" Seeing that Little White Dragon was doubting him, Xiaohua waved his hand and knocked him down from the sky, and said with a smile, "You'll know when you ask." Okay. Little White Dragon's body tumbled through the air a few times. Then it roared at the sky and charged towards a certain direction. Wherever the dragon passed, rocks were sent flying and trees were toppled. The weak spirit race cultivators all covered their heads and fled like rats. Huang Tong looked at Little White Dragon and said with some confusion, "Xiaohua, since our whereabouts have been discovered, there's no need to be so low-key. Why don't we just fly out and find the Phoenix Palace and the colorful Phoenix King? Searching here and there like this, I'm afraid it won't be effective." Xiaohua smiled and nodded. "The method you mentioned is the simplest and most violent method, and I'm afraid it's also the most effective. However, I've always been cautious, and I don't like this kind of ostentatious method, because we're not familiar with the 10,000 demon realm. Who knows why the colorful Phoenix King is looking for us? Don't forget, she has already lost hundreds of Phoenix emissaries in order to find us. If she's willing to pay such a price, there must be something more important that she wants us to do. How can we have time to talk to her about this now? We're shouldering the lives of hundreds of millions of creatures in the 3 continents. And we can't get involved in the grievances of the 10,000 demon realm. So I don't want to find them. Moreover, we've left behind the descendants of the human race and dragon race in the 3 continents in the 10,000 demon realm, and we're afraid that these descendants will be discovered by them. If we go find them now, wouldn't it be easy to give ourselves away? It's better to come quietly and leave quietly, and no one will know where we're going or what we're doing here. When they find out in the future, the human race, demon race, and dragon race in the 3 continents will have become powerful, and we won't have to be afraid of them anymore. Donate, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4801. Not necessarily. Huang Tong shook her head. There's no need to talk about the descendants of the human race. Who knows how many years it will take for a great saint to appear? Even for the demon race and the dragon race, it will take some time to produce a great saint. Who can guarantee that during this period of time, they will not be discovered by the great saints of the demon realm? Once they were discovered, Xiaohua would be a calamity to them. Since that's the case, we might as well show our strength and intimidate the great sages of the demon realm. Let them understand that the descendants of the 3 continents are not to be bullied. Whoever dares to touch a finger of theirs will have their arms cut off the next time we come. You're talking nonsense. Feng Wu flew out of the space and laughed. If he could start a war like this, he wouldn't be the merciful bodhisattva of Nanwu. Xiaohua helplessly laughed and said, I always feel that the less trouble there is, the better. Let's hurry and find the metal and wood elemental magnetism, then quickly find the space passage to the Dawn Rain continent. After all, we don't have much time left. Just as they were talking, Little White Dragon whizzed over and called out, Big brother. How is it? Xiaohua asked. Is there any news about the Gale Abyss or the Metal and Wood Mountain? Even with Big Brother's ability, you can't find the Gale Abyss. How can I find it? Little White Dragon smiled and said, However, I just asked some of the spirit race and have a plan in mind. The Gale Abyss that I'm at is originally a small place and not very famous. The demon realm is so big, unless it's near, I'm afraid no spirit race will know about it. Also, I left the demon realm with Minghua for a long time. Maybe that place has changed its name. I'm afraid it's not possible to find it just by relying on a few names. Xiaohua looked at Little White Dragon with a smile on his face, and he didn't seem to be depressed. He already knew that this fellow had already found out some information, so he simply said, Little White, you don't have to hide anymore. Have you found the Metal and Wood Dual Boundary Mountain? No. Little White Dragon answered resolutely, but in the blink of an eye he smiled and said, However, I already have some clues as to where my home is. As long as we can find my home, the Gold and Wood Dual Boundary Mountain shouldn't be too far away. That's right. Since it's your home, there are always some details that you don't usually pay attention to. Even if you tell others everything about your home, they may not be able to find your home based on this information. Huang Tong sighed. But if I let you search for it yourself, many details that you don't pay attention to will come to your mind for no reason. It will be very easy to find your home. This big brother. Little White Dragon looked at Huang Tong, who was also a wanderer, in admiration. He exclaimed, You are really amazing. Because of this, I found a few so-called knowledgeable spirit race clansmen. None of them knew about the Gale Abyss, much less the Metal and Wood Mountain range. But this little brother suddenly remembered that there was a place called Spirit Gathering Ground not far from the Gale Abyss. This little brother had never been to that place before, but this little brother vaguely remembered that it was a place that this little brother had always wanted to visit when he was young. Even when this little brother obtained the dragonization ability, it was also something that happened when he secretly went to the Spirit Gathering Ground. Xiaohua was speechless when he saw the word Spirit Gathering appear in Little White Dragon's mind. He could only express his sympathy, because he knew clearly in his heart that he and Little White Dragon were truly a pair of brothers in distress. So he patiently asked, Then the Spirit Gathering Ground, what is it? At the mention of Spirit Gathering Ground, Little White Dragon was obviously a little excited. He said, Big brother, this little brother was a very ordinary python when I was young. In the Gale Abyss, I was often bullied by other pythons, so this little brother has always wanted to cultivate and become a demon-level expert. That Spirit Gathering Ground is where the competition for demon-level experts is. This little brother has always wanted to go to Spirit Gathering Ground and obtain the title of demon-level expert. Xiaohua smiled and asked, Then do you know what the title of demon-level expert is? Of course I know. Little White Dragon said proudly. Isn't it just a big demon, a medium demon, and a small demon? How could this little brother still put demon-level titles in his eyes? This little brother wants to get a heaven-level title. What is a heaven-level title? Huang Tong asked with interest. This Little White Dragon was a little speechless. When Xiaohua heard this, he knew that Little White Dragon probably didn't even know what a demon-level title was. Back then, he only had the ambition to stand out and blindly went to Spirit Gathering Ground. It was only by chance that he obtained the dragon transformation art. Then it was a blessing in disguise. He met Minghua and stepped on the path of cultivation. How similar was this to him back then? As for the big demon, medium demon, and small demon that Little White Dragon mentioned, he probably just heard it from the other spirit clans. And the spirit clans here were all weak. Presumably, They also didn't know the title of Dust Expert or World-Dominating Brute Demon, right? Hee, you left the 10,000 demon realm for a long time. It's normal that you don't know. Xiaohua smiled and simply explained the 3 ranks of demon-level experts. Then he asked, could it be that you didn't ask about the location of the Gale Abyss, and instead asked about the location of Spirit Gathering Ground? Little White Dragon heard this and smiled bitterly. How could it be that easy, big brother? This 10,000 demon realm is beyond my imagination. I just found the location of a medium demon. It is said that this medium demon participated in the demon level title competition. He probably knows some of the places to compete for titles. Maybe he knows the location of Spirit Gathering Ground. Sigh maybe. Huang Tong was a little impatient inside. This method of inquiry, I don't think it's good. There's no point in wasting time here. Fellow Xiao, Fengwu also suggested. Since we can't find the Gale Abyss, we might as well go to the Huatian realm first. After all, this is one of our goals. Maybe when we reach the Huatian realm, it will be easier for us to find the metal and wood dual realm mountain. Xiaohua nodded and smiled. Indeed. Although Little White Dragon doesn't know where the Gale Abyss is, he stayed in the Huatian realm before. I think the Huatian realm isn't too far from the Gale Abyss. That. Hearing this, Little White Dragon hesitated and interrupted Xiaohua's words. He said embarrassedly, Big brother, how far is the Gale Abyss from the Huatian realm? I really don't know. And at that time, it was Ming Hua. When he was traveling, he passed by the Spirit Gathering Ground and met me. After that, I left the Gale Abyss and never returned. That metal and wood dual realm mountain. In my memory, it should be an extremely dangerous place near the Gale Abyss. Many experts in my clan died there, so I have a deep impression of it. Hearing up to this point, Xiaohua's heart thumped, and he felt a trace of unease. He hurriedly asked, Little White Dragon, what you mean is, this metal and wood dual boundary mountain was an extremely dangerous place when you were young, but actually, it might not be truly dangerous? In other words, the real metal and wood dual realm mountain might not be there. It can even be said that the jade eye that Grand Mist Ancestor took out is very likely fake. The name of the place is also fake. It's just that it matches the place in your memory. Ah, Big Brother is looking for the metal and wood dual realm mountain. Little White Dragon suddenly realized and smiled bitterly. How could there be metal and wood dual realm mountain in such a remote place like the Gale Abyss? Also, there is no space passage between the 10,000 demon realm and the 3 mainlands. How could an unknown place in the 10,000 demon realm appear in the 3 mainlands? And coincidentally, Grand Mist Ancestor found out about it? Forget it. Xiaohua finally figured it out. Recently, he had been in too much of a hurry because of the world-exterminating ephemera of the 3 mainlands. Moreover, the method to break the array and the space passage to the 10,000 demon realm was too rushed. In order to rush for time, he did not discuss it carefully with Little White Dragon. The metal and wood dual realm mountain that Grand Mist Ancestor mentioned, and the metal and wood dual realm mountain that Little White Dragon mentioned only had the same name. I'm sorry, Big Brother. Little White Dragon hurriedly smiled and said, It's all because I asked less. Otherwise, Big Brother wouldn't have wasted so much time here. Haha, of course, it's not your fault. Although Xiaohua was disappointed in his heart, he still forced a smile and said, It's Big Brother's fault for not thinking it through. Also, I'm afraid you will have to suffer this time. When we reach the 10,000 demon realm, I can't help you find the Gale Abyss. You won't even be able to see your own home. Xiaohua did not deliberately hide the disappointment in his eyes. Little White Dragon saw it clearly and hurriedly waved his hand and said, It's okay. I haven't been back for a long time. Even if I go back, no one will know me now. It doesn't matter if I go back or not. Big Brother, you should hurry to the Huatian realm. Oh right, Big Brother. Can you not always let me stay in the Kunlun Immortal realm? No matter what, when I reach the 10,000 demon realm, let me see what the 10,000 demon realm is like. Haha, of course. Huang Tong flapped her wings and wrapped Little White Dragon. She laughed and said, Xiaohua is not Ming Hua. He doesn't want to hide anything from you and doesn't want you to know anything. Let's go. Xiaohua looked at Feng Wu and sighed in his heart. After struggling for so long, it was still like drawing water with a bamboo basket. He didn't know when the 5 elements wishful heaven cudgel would be successfully refined. Then Xiaohua moved and followed Feng Wu and Huang Tong to the Huatian realm. The Huatian realm was naturally within the gathering area of the spirit clan. It was also very far from the border of the spirit realm. After flying for several months, they flew over the mountains and the endless desert, but they did not see any particularly powerful spirit clan. From time to time, there would be some ignorant Earth Stage demon clan flying out from the ground, wanting to stop Xiaohua and the other uninvited guests who had rashly rushed into their territory. However, when Feng Wu released the will of the Supreme Saint, those demon clan members were all trembling like a sieve. They could not fly or escape. Why would Xiaohua and the others care about these boring provocations? Their figures swayed, and they had already flown out of sight, allowing those demon clan members to breathe a sigh of relief. Chapter 4802. On this day, there was a mountain ridge that rose and fell unsteadily. The mountain rocks of this mountain ridge were all emitting a scarlet-red color. Far away under the bright sun, it was like a burning flame. There was even a kind of scorching heat that was born in the air. Caw! A clear eagle cry resounded from Xiaohua's right hand. Immediately after, a 300-meter-long eagle flew out from the foot of the mountain. This eagle's entire body was crimson red, especially when it flapped its wings. Strands of crimson flames flowed out from its feathers and landed in the air, emitting sizzling sounds. The eagle cried, and its flashing beak slightly opened. A red pillar of fire shot out from its beak and landed several hundred zhang in front of its head. In front of the eagle's head, there was a several hundred zhang long white python with a demonic cloud under its body. The python opened its mouth and a similar-sized ice pillar shot out from its mouth, blocking the fire pillar. However, this ice pillar was clearly a bit thin. It could only protect the space within a few hundred zhang. Before the fire pillar fell, the ice pillar had already melted a bit. Looking at the white python's body, besides a layer of dark patterns, it was also snow-white like congealed fat. However, at this time, there were many bloody cracks on this snow-white surface. Some of these cracks had already healed, but some were still bleeding. When the blood streaked across the snow-white python's body, it gave birth to a kind of miserable beauty. Hiss! Seeing that the ice pillar was no match for the fire pillar, the white python let out a hissing sound. Then, from the left side of the sky, dozens of moonlight pillars descended. The white python's body suddenly expanded, and its tail turned into a huge ice storm that swept towards the eagle. This ice storm came so suddenly that the eagle was caught off guard. The eagle only had time to flap its wings before it was hit by the ice storm. And like a meteorite, it fell down the mountain. Boom! At the same time, the fire pillar hit the ice pillar. In a huge explosion, the ice pillar broke inch by inch, and the white python also lost its balance in the air. Before the eagle could crash into the mountain, a loud screech was heard, and flames appeared around the eagle's body. A crimson stream of true sun fire fell from the sky and covered the eagle. At the same time, it also burned a deep hole in the rock under the eagle's body. With the help of the true sun flame, the eagle proudly made a turn at the peak of the mountain. Then it flapped its wings and soared into the sky like an arrow. The sharp beak of the eagle was like the tip of an arrow. In the time it took to breathe, it had already pierced deeply into the white python's neck. Not only that, the eagle's crimson claws, which seemed to be cast from copper and iron, had also deeply grasped the white python's chest and abdomen. As layers of frost cracked, blood gushed out once again. Ow ow! The white python's huge body twitched violently, and it couldn't help but raise its head and growl. The sound of pain was actually very sharp. The fierce battle between the white python and the eagle was not close to Xiaohua. Moreover, Xiaohua's divine sense had already swept through the area, and he had already seen everything. However, along the way, Xiaohua had seen this kind of cruel battle more than once or twice. Xiaohua just glanced at it. Not to mention that this kind of battle was common in the 10,000 demon realm. Compared to what Xiaohua wanted to do, this kind of battle was not in Xiaohua's eyes at all. As usual, Xiaohua did not care at all. Lightning surged around his body and was about to pass by. However, when the screams fell into the little white dragon's ears, it was as if the little white dragon was struck by lightning. The dragon's body suddenly trembled. Then the little white dragon hysterically shouted, "Big brother, quick! Let go of me!" Xiaohua was stunned. His body that had already turned into a void solidified again. Huang Tong also sensed the little white dragon's abnormality. As her wings loosened, the little white dragon's body fell out of the sky. Roar! The little white dragon's body did not stabilize. Immediately it roared like crazy. The dragon's body produced a gust of wind and rushed towards the eagle in the distance. Oh! Xiaohua was stunned. He glanced at Feng Wu and Huang Tong. His eyes were full of surprise because Xiaohua had never seen the little white dragon so crazy, nor had he seen him lose his composure like this. When Xiaohua's divine sense swept over the snow-white giant python again, he saw the giant python's slender eyebrows and seemed to understand something. Immediately, Xiaohua, Feng Wu, and Huang Tong's figures flashed. They were already above the eagle and the white python fighting. Huang Tong stretched out her claws and was about to attack. Shoo! Xiaohua hurriedly stopped her in his heart. Don't worry, let's see how the little white dragon will deal with it. Looking at the giant python, although it was trapped between life and death, now that three great saints were in the sky, how could they let the giant python fall? So Huang Tong nodded, withdrew her claws and replied, "Okay, let's wait and see what kind of story the little white dragon and the white python have." The little white dragon was naturally not as fast as Xiaohua and the others, but at this time, he had already rushed over desperately. He was not much slower than Xiaohua and the others. Moreover, the little white dragon flew over, roaring again and again. The tiger rose from the wind, and the dragon gave birth to clouds. Layers of clouds seemed to be the little white dragon's angry mood, surging over overwhelmingly. Hearing the little white dragon's dragon roar, the eagle and the white python were shocked. Although they did not know the dragon race, the terrifying dragon roar and the huge and mighty dragon body made them tremble with fear. The male eagle had originally used its beak to tear apart the white python's neck, and was about to open its mouth to land on the white python's heart. At this moment it was stunned on the spot. It did not understand why this inexplicable dragon was so crazy. In the face of the little white dragon's dragon power, the white python was even worse. An instinctive feeling of weakness and numbness arose spontaneously. Although the white python had been keenly aware of the eagle's fear and the stop of its attack, she raised her python head and weakly pounced on the eagle's neck. It seemed that she wanted to, but she was powerless. Jie. The white python bit the eagle's neck. Although it was not fatal, the eagle flew into a rage. He screeched, turned his head, and pecked the white python's neck again with his sharp beak. Drops of blood sprinkled all over the white python's body like scarlet flowers. The white python weakly cried, "Ayo." It sounded incomparably desperate. Ayo. The little white dragon's eyes turned red. He didn't have any intention of asking Xiaohua for help. Instead, he roared angrily, and the dragon patterns on his body surged. The dragon claw that was originally hidden in the clouds suddenly rose up. The dragon claw that was hundreds of feet long was like a huge mountain falling from the sky. That huge force instantly shrouded the space around the eagle and the white python. Ga. Seeing the dragon claw so powerful, the eagle's expression changed. He made a prompt decision and swung his sharp claws, giving the white python to the little white dragon. He spread his wings, and countless scarlet flames rushed out, tearing the dragon claw's shackles to shreds. The eagle's body squeezed out of the shackles like a meteor, fleeing into the distant sky. The eagle's plan was good, but unfortunately, he neglected the little white dragon's desire to kill. Seeing that the white python had escaped danger, it panicked and sat cross-legged in the air. The python's head with its red tongue sticking out tightly under its body. If it saw anything strange with the little white dragon, it would immediately fight to the death with the little white dragon. Ayo. The little white dragon swept over the white python's head like a gust of wind. That extremely masculine dragon breath almost made the white python faint. And then the white python was even more shocked. Ayo ayo ayo. The little white dragon only swayed its tail a few times, but it had already caught up with the eagle. Without waiting for the eagle to turn its head, the little white dragon had already opened its dragon mouth and landed on the eagle's wings. The eagle also screeched and spat out a pillar of fire from its mouth. Its sharp claws fiercely clawed at the little white dragon's dragon scales. The little white dragon seemed to have gone crazy. It did not use any heavenly dragon speech technique at all, nor did it use any magical powers. It only used its dragon claws to desperately tear the eagle's wings. The dragon horns on the dragon's head desperately stabbed at the eagle's demon body. Under the eagle's claws, the human scarlet flames fell like a fountain onto the little white dragon's dragon body. Little white, and this white python seems to have a story that must be told? Xiaohua looked at the little white dragon's madness and understood something. He naturally also thought of the little white dragon's excitement when it heard that it could return to the 10,000 demon realm, and some of the things it said at that time. The little white dragon said that it had some grievances in the 10,000 demon realm that it did not understand. Xiaohua did not ask, and now it seems that this grievances should have something to do with this delicate white python. Naturally, the eagle would not sit still and do its best to fight back. Unfortunately, the eagle's strength was not a match for the little white dragon, and the little white dragon's dragon body was incomparably hard. Where the eagle's claws fell, it only caused cracks to appear on the little white dragon's dragon scales, and where the little white dragon's claws fell, the eagle's demon body was torn to pieces. The eagle's fire pillar fell on the little white dragon's dragon body, and could only annihilate some of the dragon patterns. At the corner of the little white dragon's dragon body, the eagle's feathers fell like chicken feathers. In just an instant, the eagle was already at its last breath. The eagle cried out weakly, "You! Which demon race are you? I. When did I have a grudge with you? You are a powerhouse of the sea. Why? Unfortunately, before the eagle could finish speaking, its demon body had already fallen onto the mountain peak like a stone. Even so, the little white dragon still could not let the eagle go. It actually pounced on the mountain peak, and the dragon's claws were filled with endless anger. It tore the eagle's demon body into pieces, and blood and flesh fell everywhere. The scene was really bloody to the extreme. The white python was obviously frightened. She looked at the little white dragon very puzzledly, and her whole body was trembling. She knew in her heart that the smartest thing to do now was to take advantage of this opportunity to slip away. However, this thought only briefly crossed her mind before she erased it. Not to mention that the little white dragon's strength was far beyond her. Even if she escaped, she could not escape too far. Just the little white dragon's abnormal attack just now gave her an extremely vague impression in her heart, and it gave her an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Chapter 4803. However, when Little White Dragon raised its head from the mountain peak, its ferocious dragon head, its blood-red eyes, and the bloodstains on its claws scared the white python so much that it hurriedly threw away the familiar feeling. It moved its body and respectfully landed on the mountain peak. It raised its voice and said, "Junior greets the powerhouse of the sea." Roar! Little White Dragon ignored the white python. It raised its head and roared crazily at the sky. Wherever the dragon roar passed, the wind and clouds changed, and the sky changed color. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Little White Dragon roared angrily. It stretched out its dragon claw and waved it at the blood-stained mountain peak. Boom! Hundreds of feet of gravel were crushed by its claws, and pieces of gravel poured down along the mountain wall. The white python trembled, and did not dare to say anything. It only coiled there, as if it was on guard and waiting. After the little white dragon roared angrily, its emotions gradually calmed down. Its dragon body, which had trembled due to its excitement, slowly recovered. When the redness in its eyes disappeared, it looked at the white python again. It opened its mouth, but did not know what to say. Seeing that Little White Dragon had no intention of attacking it, the white python's heart finally relaxed. It said respectfully, "Junior thanks the powerhouse of the sea." "You. What's your name?" Little White Dragon asked abruptly. "Where's your home?" "Me." The white python was stunned. It hesitated for a moment before answering honestly. "Junior's name is Xingyu." "Junior's home." Senior would not know even if I told you. Xingyu, Xingyu. Little white dragon muttered absent-mindedly. Its eyes were a little blurred. It looked at the white python and said, "What an old name. It seems to be in my memory, but I can't remember." The white python did not understand what little white dragon meant. It did not dare to say anything and just waited for little white dragon to explain. Xiao Hua, Feng Wu, and Huang Tong were also hiding in the sky. They quietly watched, waiting for little white dragon to tell the story from long ago. Xingyu. Little white dragon suddenly asked, "Do you still remember a little white snake called Xinghan?" Xinghan? Xingyu was stunned, but it nodded after a moment. I remember. Why? Senior knows Xinghan? This junior hasn't seen him for a long time. In your memory, what is Lin Han like? The little white dragon asked hesitantly. His eyes flashed with apprehension. Huan Yu was even more confused. She looked at the little white dragon and thought for a moment. Then she said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Senior. Huan Han has been missing for too long. Junior only remembers what he looked like when he was young, but now..." Hee, don't be afraid. The little white dragon laughed. I'm just asking you, what was Johan like when he was young? Well, Huan Yu smiled apologetically. Senior, in my memory, Huan Han is an ambitious little white snake. He often clamored to become a demon-grade expert, but in reality, he didn't even know what the title of a demon-grade expert was. Oh, that's right, Lin Han's talent is not good. He doesn't know how to cultivate, but he has an unyielding fighting spirit. I remember very clearly that one time, I went to Mount Yulua with him to look for a demonic fruit. We were stopped by a big spirit of the nearby dog clan. After that big spirit stole our demonic fruit, it wanted to eat us. Lin Han and I couldn't beat that big spirit, so in order to hold that big spirit back, Lin Han bit the big spirit's neck. No matter how many times the big spirit threw him down and used its claws to tear his snake body into a bloody mess, he didn't give up. However, that big spirit was too powerful. Even though it was frightened by Lin Han, it still threw Lin Han aside and wanted to eat me. Thankfully, a big spirit of the clan arrived in time and saved me. But because the big spirit of the clan couldn't carry two pythons, it could only leave Lin Han behind. It would bring me to a safe place before looking for Lin Han. But when the big spirit returned, Lin Han was already gone. I thought Lin Han was eaten by the dog spirit, and was sad for a long time. But who knew that 3 months later, Lin Han would come back alive? I was so surprised. I even kissed him. At this point, Shuiyu looked up and looked in a direction, as if there was a distant memory there. And then? Little White Dragon asked with interest. After that, Lin Han seemed to have changed. Sometimes he would secretly tell me that he wanted to cultivate to become a heaven-rank expert in the demon realm. Sometimes he would say that he wanted to become a demon called a dragon. He also said that he would protect me and Gale Abyss in the future. I thought that he must have encountered some kind of opportunity, so I was happy for him and even urged him to cultivate. Ma Yingyu had been holding back her words for many years, but she was becoming more and more fluent now. Unfortunately, before he could cultivate, there was a spirit gathering battle, where one could fight for the title of low-level lesser demon. I accompanied the great spirit who had saved me to the spirit gathering battle. And when I returned, I never saw Ma Yinghan again. I heard from the clan that he also went to gather spirit, but I never saw him. Later, I inquired for a long time, but there was no news of Lin Han. At this point, Shuiyu looked at Little White Dragon. The pair of python eyes were crystal clear and asked tentatively, "Senior, did you meet Lin Han? Is he still alive?" "Ah yes, it's been tens of thousands of years. It's rare that you still remember Lin Han." Little White Dragon sighed. Time passed by quickly and we have all become duckweeds. If I didn't meet you today, I would have almost forgotten that I have a name called Lin Han. Senior is right. Now that I think about it, I am Lin Han. Ah? Shuiyu answered casually, but halfway through, she suddenly screamed and looked at Little White Dragon in disbelief. Senior, you are Lin Han? Yes, I still remember that year at Rainfall Mountain. Just like now, I desperately wanted to block the big spirit of the dog clan. But I was so powerless. I really hated myself at that time. Why couldn't I be strong? I was really willing to die for you. But I still couldn't stop the dog spirit from pouncing on your body. Little White Dragon looked at Shuiyu and said with some affection. When Lin Hong appeared, my heart became even more gloomy. He took you away and didn't even look at me. Although you shouted loudly, he didn't care about me at all. It was as if I was a pile of mud. So rotten that even the dog spirit wasn't willing to eat me. No, no. Shuiyu hurriedly cried out. Lin Hong really did go looking for you after that. By the time he found me, it was already too late. I dragged my injured body and left with a broken heart. Little White Dragon calmly replied. Fortunately, I was originally an ordinary little white snake. Heaven really did give me a chance to become a dragon. However, the Python clan and Snake clan of Gale Abyss didn't believe me. Lin Hong snorted at me. Even you. I feel that if you weren't afraid of hurting my heart, you wouldn't have said those words to deceive me. You. Lin Han Yu. Is this the dragon clan you spoke of back then? Shuiyu hesitated and asked softly. What you said back then? Was it all true? Shuiyu. I can lie to anyone, but do you think I would lie to you? Little White Dragon skillfully replied. Then you are now. Definitely a powerful warrior of the sea? Shuiyu asked, her breathing a little hurried. Although Little White Dragon didn't understand how powerful a powerful warrior of the sea was, how could he say no to Shuiyu? He raised his head and proudly said, Of course. I've already reached the peak of Earth rank. One more step and I'll become a star rank warrior. That's great, that's great. Shuiyu cried out happily. Our Gale Abyss is finally saved. Lin Han, quick, come back with me to save our clansmen. But then Shuiyu became dejected again and said softly. Forget it, Gale Abyss is too far from here. By the time we get back, our clansmen will probably have been slaughtered by the Ape and Lion clansmen. And I heard that the Ape and Lion clansmen have sent many powerful warriors. You alone. I'm afraid you won't be their match. Damn it. Little White Dragon yelled when he heard that Gale Abyss was in trouble. Shuiyu, what's going on? Tell me. No need to say anything. I'll tell you as we go. Little White Dragon shouted into the sky. Big brother. Big brother? Shuiyu was even more puzzled. When Little White Dragon appeared earlier, she had already scanned the surroundings. There were no traces of the spirit tribe. However, when Xiaohua, Fengwu, and Huang Tong appeared, the demon race's great saint aura was slightly released. Shuiyu was stunned. In an instant, sparkling tears flowed out of her black jade-like eyes. Her huge python body crawled in the air as she cried out. This junior greets the 3 sun rank warriors. Please, for Lin Han's sake, save our Gale Abyss. If Shuiyu was in the human race, she would definitely be a pretty girl from a small town. How could she have met a demon race great saint? She must have used her imagination to call herself a sun rank warrior, right? Just as Little White Dragon was about to correct him, Fengwu interjected. Xiaobai is my brother. His matters are our matters. Gale Abyss is his home, and it is also our home. Time is of the essence now, so there's no need to say more. Just point us in the direction, and we'll go there right away. Fengwu waved his sharp claws, which transformed into a large hand that grabbed Shuiyu. He flapped his wings and was about to fly into the sky. Holy Phoenix! Little White Dragon said anxiously. Shuiyu is still injured. How can she be healed without taking pills? Holy Phoenix? Shuiyu was shocked when she heard this. She stammered, This junior greets the great saint. There's no need for any pills. Fengwu smiled. With a flap of her wings, several vast pillars of starlight and moonlight descended from the sky. These pillars of light were different from ordinary pillars of starlight and moonlight. They were snow-white like milk, and when they landed on Hoyu's body, it felt so comfortable that it almost made the white python groan. Then, the cracks and ghastly wounds on her body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chapter 4804. Good. Little White Dragon's heart was immediately put at ease. He turned to Huang Tong and said, Huangsheng, please take me to Gale Abyss. Huangsheng? Shuiyu heard and could not help but feel dizzy. How many great sages were there in the 10,000 demon realm? She had never seen a single Sun realm elite in her life, but today she saw two great sages of the upper race. However, Huang Tong did not look like a phoenix at all. She opened her mouth but did not dare to ask. Where is Gale Abyss? Xiaohua looked at the sky and urged. We don't have much time left, let's deal with this quickly. Over there. Shuiyu heard Xiaohua's words. Although she could not see Xiaohua's cultivation, she knew that he had an extraordinary background when she saw him traveling with two great sages. She hurriedly pointed in a direction. Xiaohua frowned because the direction Shuiyu pointed in was not the same as the Huatian realm. Let's go. Xiaohua waved his hand and lightning surged around him. He turned into lightning and flew in the direction Shuiyu pointed. Along the way, Huyu told Little White Dragon about what had happened in the Gale Abyss. Gale Abyss was originally a corner of the lower races in the 10,000 demon realm. It was also the border between the Python realm and the Snake realm. It had always been a place that was not recorded in the realm consciousness. Of course, no expert had ever appeared in such an unknown place, nor had any experts paid attention to it. However, 100 years ago, experts from the Ape clan began to arrive, followed by experts from the Lion clan. When the experts of the Ape tribe first arrived, it seemed unintentional. Then they stayed in the Gale Abyss for several months. When they came again, they brought even more experts with them. The arrival of these experts began to change the lives of the Python tribe and Snake tribe in the vicinity of the Gale Abyss. Many Python tribe and Snake tribe became the disciples of these experts. Soon, the entire Gale Abyss was controlled by the Ape tribe. Then the Lion race elites appeared. The Lion race elites were more powerful than the Ape race elites. After a few conflicts with the Ape race elites, some of the Python realm and Snake realm began to side with the Lion race. Thus, the Python realm and Snake realm in Gale Abyss were divided into two opposing factions. In the following decades, the Gale Abyss began to experience an unprecedented upheaval. Fights seemed to occur every day, and from time to time, Pythons would die in these fights. Moreover, this kind of fighting atmosphere was spreading, and even the nearby Hound clan, Wolf clan, and Rat clan were involved. Shuiyu was naturally no exception. In the beginning, she was also excitedly cultivating with a powerhouse of the Ape clan. However, when she saw the bloody scene in the Gale Abyss, she felt that something was wrong. She hurriedly contacted the elders of the clan. However, at this moment, she discovered that the elder who usually presided over the affairs of the Gale Abyss was not in the Gale Abyss. After asking around, he found out that the elder had not shown himself for several years. Huyu was shocked. She knew that there must be something fishy going on. At the same time, another piece of news came. An Earth rank of the Ape tribe knew that the Ape tribe had been humiliated in the Gale Abyss, and was preparing to come to the Gale Abyss. At the same time, the Lion tribe also issued a challenge to the Gale Abyss. If it was a normal day, Huyu would naturally be excited to watch the show from the sidelines. However, she found many things fishy and saw through the conspiracy behind the challenge. She knew that the Lion tribe and the Ape tribe were definitely not seeking victory, but to erase the Gale Abyss from the 10,000 demon realm. However, what puzzled Huyu was that the Gale Abyss was not a famous place, and there were no special powerhouses. The Lion tribe or the Ape tribe could just come and kill them. Why would there be a conspiracy? Huyu thought about it, and did not know what to do. At this time, there were several other Python tribe members who also saw that something was wrong. After some discussion, they felt that there were several ways to get out of the Gale Abyss. One was to ask the Python king of the Yiming boundary for help. The other was to ask the Snake king of the Huihong boundary for help. However, these Python tribe members had never been to the Yiming boundary and the Huihong boundary, so they did not know how to ask for help. The other way was to ask for help from the powerhouses who came out of the Gale Abyss. Naturally, the Gale Abyss did not have any powerful powerhouses. However, they hoped that these powerhouses could ask for help from other powerhouses to save the lives of the Python tribe and the Snake tribe. Therefore, after some discussion, the Pythons contacted some other Python tribe and the Snake tribe and divided them into several places. Some went to look for the Python king, some went to look for the Snake king, and some went to look for powerhouses. Hu Yu and 2 other Python tribe members went to the lizard tribe to look for Yuan Shihong, who was already a rock cliff powerhouse. However, when Hu Yu and the 2 Python tribe members arrived at the lizard tribe, they found out that Yuan Shihong had gone out with the powerhouses of the lizard tribe to gain experience. The range of the experience might be near the Jade Sea. For Hu Yu, the Jade Sea was just a name she had heard of. With her ability, it was absolutely impossible for her to go there. After some disappointment, they were about to return. At this time, another news came that Yuan Shihong did not go to the Jade Sea, but was near the Redstone Mountain. However, even though the Redstone Mountain was a place for rock cliff powerhouses to gain experience, Hu Yu and the others could not possibly go there. Therefore, the other 2 Python tribe members suggested that they return to the Gale Abyss. After all, they were only one of the groups. Perhaps the other Python tribe members had already successfully invited the Python King, or the Snake King. Hu Yu followed them back to the Gale Abyss. 2 days later, she happened to encounter a lizard tribe powerhouse returning from the Redstone Mountain. After asking around, Hu Yu learned of the location of the Redstone Mountain, and the news that Yuan Shihong had successfully become a peak powerhouse. Hu Yu saw hope in the Gale Abyss again, and hurriedly wanted to return to the Redstone Mountain. However, the other 2 Python tribe members did not agree. They were not willing to risk going to the Redstone Mountain. Helpless, Hu Yu could only go to the Redstone Mountain alone. Naturally, Hu Yu did not meet Yuan Shihong. Instead, she met Yuan Shihong, Xiaobai, who had disappeared for tens of thousands of years and had been reborn. What? Yuan Shihong is already a peak powerhouse? Hearing that Hu Yu was looking for Yuan Shihong, Little White Dragon could not help but feel jealous and asked in surprise. Yes. Hu Yu smiled and said, Yuan Shihong is considered one of the most powerful powerhouses to come out of the Gale Abyss. Back then, after he obtained the title of Dust Realm Powerhouse in the Spirit Gathering Realm, he met a Lizard Tribe powerhouse. That powerhouse felt that he was a promising talent and brought him along to cultivate. This guy is really fucking lucky. Little White Dragon did not forget to say with jealousy, completely ignoring the fact that he was already a powerhouse of the 6th level of origin energy. Hu Yu was in a great mood. She pursed her lips and said with a smile, Yuan Shihong, before you appeared, Yuan Shihong and the others were naturally the most powerful powerhouses. But after you came back, aren't you the most powerful powerhouse in the Gale Abyss? I remember when you were young, you always told me that you wanted to become a powerhouse. Now your wish has come true. When you save all the clan spirits in the Gale Abyss, you will become a great hero of the Gale Abyss. Your childhood dream has come true. I also want to beat up that dog spirit until he kneels at my feet and licks my feet. Little White Dragon said proudly. Unfortunately, before he could finish, Huang Tong said coldly, Look at how useless you are. He's just a dog and you still want to lower yourself to his level? If Spiritual Master Yin knew about this, wouldn't he skin you alive? Haha, Sage Huang. You don't know how much damage that dog spirit had done to me. Little White Dragon said shamelessly, Back then, I was beaten into a pile of shit by that dog spirit in front of the beautiful Hu Yu. My heart was also shattered that Hu Yu was stunned. But then, her jade-like face turned red and she did not say anything. If it weren't for that dog spirit, I'm afraid you wouldn't have today's opportunity. You should thank that dog spirit. Feng Wu teased. That's what Methria Buddha thinks. Little White Dragon said bitterly. I just want to beat that guy up, I don't want to thank him. Also, I want to ask Hu Hong in person why he looked at me with such disdain when he left with Hu Yu back then. Similarly, Hu Yu wanted to open her mouth, but she thought of something and closed it again. However, Little White Dragon did not let go of the opportunity to talk to Hu Yu. Taking advantage of the fact that he was not using his divine power, he asked her a lot of questions about the Gale Abyss. Of course, many of these questions were related to Hu Yu. After another month, Xiaohua felt that the space was a little loose. His heart skipped a beat and he asked in his heart, Huang Tong, have the laws of heaven and earth in our bodies changed? That's right. Huang Tong replied with a smile. After staying in the 10,000 demon realm for so long, we have some understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. However, at this time, we still can't use the space escape technique. Fellow Taoist Wu, Xiaohua asked worriedly. I can no longer feel the divine sense mark that we set up in the capital star formation. Can you still feel the soul consciousness mark? I'll let fellow Taoist Xiao know. Taoist Wu laughed. The laws of heaven and earth in the 10,000 demon realm are very strange. Although I can't feel the soul consciousness mark, I can know that the soul consciousness mark is intact. This is probably one of the reasons why soul cultivators are not allowed to exist in the 10,000 demon realm. That's good. That's good. Xiaohua was finally relieved. At this time, Huang Tong said, Xiaohua, although our bodies have begun to integrate with the laws of heaven and earth of the 10,000 demon realm, there is still a long way to go before we can use the space escape technique. This gap could be 10 years or 100 years. You don't think too much. It's okay. Xiaohua waved his hand and smiled. Just in case, I have set up a lot of divine sense marks along the way. If there are any changes, we can use the North Way technique to teleport to the top of the spiritual realm many times. A few days later, Xiaohua saw that the terrain of the 10,000 demon realm had changed greatly. There were more lakes and swamps, and there were more trees on the hills between the lakes. Whether it was the lakes or the hills, there were more pythons. Xiaohua knew that Little White Dragon's hometown, Gale Abyss, was right in front of him. Chapter 4805. Sure enough, after flying for a while, a huge lake appeared in his divine sense. Before Huang Tong could ask Little White Dragon anything, Xiaohua suddenly frowned. Huang Tong and Feng Wu also had strange looks on their faces. The three of them looked at each other, and a thoughtful look appeared in their eyes. Ah! Little White Dragon laughed when he saw the muddy swamp increasing. I didn't expect that I would return to the Gale Abyss one day. Wu looked at Little White Dragon's expression and smiled. With Little White Dragon and the two great saints beside him, the difficulties in the Gale Abyss were nothing. Big brother. Little White Dragon stopped smiling and asked, how's the situation in the Gale Abyss? It's not good. Xiaohua knew what Little White Dragon meant and replied, many pythons died in the lake, and many snakes died on the hills. Of course, the apes and lions also died. Without waiting for Xiaohua to finish, Little White Dragon said angrily, Big brother, go faster. No problem. Xiaohua nodded and asked, do you need me to do it? There's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. Little White Dragon gritted his teeth and said, leave it to me to deal with these little bastards. Okay. Xiaohua agreed and looked at Hu Yu. Don't tell anyone that we're coming back with Little White Dragon. Yes, Senior. Hu Yu was anxious when she heard that many pythons had died in the Gale Abyss. She didn't think too much about it. In the next second, Xiaohua's figure flickered as he teleported away, disappearing from sight. Feng Wu and Huang Tong also spread their wings, and a string of phantoms appeared. In a moment, they also escaped into the void. Looking at the Gale Abyss again, on the side of the seemingly endless lake, between the hills, rows of trees had fallen to the ground. On the ground, there were many crisscrossing gullies with broken green vines hanging at the edge of the gullies. On the already messy ground, there were even more pythons and snakes lying crookedly on the ground. These pythons were covered with bloody wounds, and many of them had deep bloody holes in their chests and abdomens. Streams of blood, either crimson or dark green, flowed out from these bloody holes. Not only did it dye the vines red, but it also dyed the ground red. When it flowed into the lake, it also dyed the lake water red. However, in the blood-red lake, there were many python corpses floating with the waves. They were densely packed. At a glance, there were many snow-white corpses floating in the blood-red lake. It was a ghastly sight. On the other side of the lake, between the mountain ridge and the forest, thousands of apes and lions were roaring, divided into two groups. They were either commanding groups of pythons to kill each other, or slaughtering some pythons with their own hands. In front of these raging apes and lions, the pythons and snakes were like earthworms. Further away in the forest, there were even more pythons and snakes trembling. They were either coiling on ancient trees, or hiding between the mountain rocks. Every python's head poked out, and a pair of frightened eyes were particularly striking. Roar. A lion's roar was heard, and a lion with an earthy yellow mane that was over 1,000 feet long appeared in the sky. Between his sharp claws was a red-colored python. The scales on the python's body were flashing with a crimson light, and wisps of fire were seeping out from the scales. Unfortunately, the python's body was firmly held by the lion, and a rain of blood poured down from the sky. Go to hell. The lion roared, and suddenly swung his front leg forward. So, the red python turned into a flash of light and streaked across the sky. With a boom, it smashed into the hill. As the python's body was embedded in the rocks, large chunks of the hill fell down and smashed into the python's body. Even if this daddy dies, I will never let you destroy the Gale Abyss. The python's body cracked, and blood flowed out again. However, the python roared and struggled, rushing out of the hill, trying its best to fly into the sky. Roar! Before the python's tail could be pulled out of the hill, a deafening roar sounded again. A giant ape that was also 1,000 feet in size jumped down from the sky and landed on the ground with a boom. The giant ape's foot really stepped on the corpse of a python. The ground shook, and the python's corpse was also trampled into a pile of mud. Not good. The giant python let out a low cry and hurriedly tried to fly away. However, the giant ape reached out with its hand and grabbed the giant python's tail through the thick mountain rocks. The giant ape's sharp claws pierced deeply into the red python's scales. The red flames on the scales flickered a few times, but it was actually unable to resist the silver-white brilliance of the giant ape's claws. Roar! The red python roared in pain. Aha! The giant ape laughed, and its other claw pierced deeply into the python's scales. In an instant, the ape's claws turned blood red. The giant ape cursed, "Damn it! This daddy was just having a good time killing. Why did a thing like you appear? If you're not courting death, then who is? Wait until this daddy kills you, then I'll take care of the little lion." As it spoke, the great ape swung its arms and lifted the great red python up. With a whoosh, it smashed the great red python to the ground. With a loud bang, the great red python's skin split open, and its scales flew everywhere. The rocks and trees on the ground were also sent flying. After a few more hits, the python was already covered in blood, and it was no longer as powerful as before. Roar! Seeing the giant ape lift the python up again, the python roared angrily, twisted its body, and turned its head. It spat out flames from its mouth and pounced at the giant ape. Child's play. Seeing the flames coming at him, the giant ape sneered and opened its bloody mouth. Woo! A silver-white brilliance shot out, enveloping the flames, and the flames were instantly extinguished. At the same time, the giant ape loosened its grip, and its left leg kicked forward, right on top of the red python's head. Boom! The giant ape's strength was so great that it actually kicked the red python's body out of the air. The red python flew through the air, and with a plop, it landed on the surface of the lake. Roar! Seeing the giant ape let go, the lion tribe member roared. "Ape Will, your strength is only SOSO, watch this daddy's dot." With that, the lion tribe member stepped on the demon cloud, and was about to pounce on the surface of the lake. Roar! At this moment, the red python flew out from the lake, and hundreds of water pillars tens of feet thick shot up into the sky. The python's body was covered in black and red flames, and a strange demon aura seeped out from its scales. The red python's body seemed to have expanded by 30%, and an arrogant voice came from its mouth. "Damn it! You forced me to do this. Since that's the case, I'll show you my true strength." Ah! Seeing the change in the giant python, the giant ape and lion tribe members were shocked, and the two demon tribes' bodies trembled at the same time. Unfortunately, before the red python could finish speaking, roar, roar, roar. In the sky, angry dragon roars were heard, and the entire sky of the Gale Abyss was filled with violent winds, lightning, and thunder. Layers of dark clouds came from all directions, and in an instant, the sky was covered. A furious and burning yuan will descended from the sky like a tsunami, and instantly enveloped the entire lake, along with the thousands of ape and lion tribe members. Ah! This is... The giant ape and the khaki-colored lion tribe members were shocked again, and they turned to look in panic. Swoosh! At this moment, A dragon's aura that could make 10,000 beasts crawl was even more shocking than the yuan will just now. While the giant ape and the khaki-colored lion tribe members were trembling, the red python that was already covered in flames could not suppress the fear in its heart. The python's body trembled, and all the flames were retracted. It was in disbelief and confusion as it looked at the sky filled with black clouds. Roar! In the midst of the lightning and thunder, the little white dragon's huge body was revealed, and the aura of a king's return spread out from the clouds that covered the sky. Before the little white dragon could fly close, the entire sky was filled with obscure dragon language. This dragon language carried an ancient curse, and the little white dragon's anger. It fell in the air, and turned into tens of thousands of fire pillars. Boom boom boom. In the midst of the violent winds, the world's yuan-chi madly fell into the fire pillars, and in the blink of an eye, the entire sky was condensed into a huge red fire array. Those who invade the gale abyss die. The little white dragon flew over, and Shuiyu, who was not far behind him, was incomparably shocked. She could not imagine that the little white snake that was often bullied as a child would now have such a great ability. Moreover, she did not dare to believe that the little white dragon that had previously fought so desperately with the eagle only relied on its body, and did not use today's ability. Following the word die, the light pillars that filled the sky fell like swords of punishment, accurately landing on the heads of every ape and lion tribe member. Compared to It Can't Be, the giant ape and lion tribe members were really dumbfounded. The two demon tribe experts looked at each other, and a kind of absurd feeling arose in their hearts. Star expert? How is this possible? When did the Gale Abyss produce a star expert? Unfortunately, the little white dragon did not give them any time to think. Its dragon body swam in the air, and its two dragon claws turned into fiery red phantoms that were several mu in size. They fell from the sky, and its mouth shouted, "It's your turn now." Roar roar. The giant ape and the earth and yellow lion tribe saw that the dragon claw mountain was about to fall, and they both became unruly. As they roared, one of them waved its giant arm and rushed into the air, and a silver-white light pillar shot out of its mouth. The other one even rushed out of its mouth, and an earth and yellow demon cloud rushed out. Its lion claws gave off a sharp light, and it also met the attack. The little white dragon's dragon claws fell, and instantly scattered the giant ape's silver light pillar. Moreover, the dragon claws did not stop there, and hit the giant ape's arms, directly smashing those arms that seemed to be cast from copper and iron. The little white dragon's dragon claws even cleverly pierced the top of the giant ape's head. The giant ape screamed, and it looked like it was about to die. Chapter 4806. With the fall of the giant ape, how could the lion clan escape death? Little white dragon's other claw easily grabbed the lion clan member, and the demonic cloud he spat out. Amidst the roar and the flickering flames, the lion clan member's demonic body had long been turned into meat paste. You. The red python suppressed the dragon's aura emitting from little white dragon's body. He was both fearful and jealous as he asked, "What demonic clan are you?" "My Gale Abyss. Since when did we have a clan spirit like you?" It was no wonder that the red python was jealous. He was forced to use his ultimate technique by the giant ape and the lion clan. The glory of killing the giant ape and the lion clan should have belonged to him. But before he could do anything, Little White Dragon had interrupted him. Little White Dragon's heavenly dragon speech technique was so powerful that the sky and earth changed color, and the wind howled. Even if he used his ultimate technique again, he would not have been prepared for it. Hujin Hong. Little White Dragon's eyes flashed as he looked at the red python in front of him. He said word by word, "Let me ask you, why did you leave me at the Rainfall Mountain that day? I didn't know at first and thought you didn't have the ability to take me away. But later, I realized that you did it on purpose." Rainfall Mountain? What do you mean? Yuan Shihong had clearly forgotten about the little white dragon long ago. He looked at the little white dragon with a puzzled expression. Hujin Hong. Hu Yu, who had regained her senses, flew down from the sky and shouted in surprise, "Why are you back so soon?" "He is Lin Han. That year. That little white snake who wanted to save Gale Abyss. and said he wanted to become a dragon. Lin Han. Dragon? Hu Jinhong suddenly realized and looked at Little White Dragon. You really became a dragon? This is a dragon? That's right. Little White Dragon looked at Hu Jinhong proudly and said, I am a dragon now and my name is Xiaobai. Ever since you left me at the Rainfall Mountain, I abandoned the name Lin Han. I just want to ask you, why didn't you save me back then? Lin Han no Xiaobai. Hu Yu hurriedly explained. Didn't I tell you earlier? Hu Jinhong didn't have the ability to save you back then. Didn't he go find you later? Xian Yu. Little White Dragon looked at Hu Yu and said with a smile. When you said that, I didn't refute you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I also know that you have Hu Jinhong in your heart. You can't bear to destroy his image in your heart. You also don't want to think in that direction. If he wasn't in the Gale Abyss, perhaps I wouldn't have asked him again. But just when you went to look for him, he actually returned to the Gale Abyss. Of course, I can't deny that he still has the Gale Abyss in his heart. However, I am very suspicious. Back then, in order to eliminate me, a tiny little white snake, he was already so scheming. Today, in this Gale Abyss that is being besieged and slaughtered by the Ape Clan and the Lion Clan, how could he disregard his own safety and appear in such a righteous manner? I am very doubtful. Lin Han. Hu Yu immediately stood in front of Hu Jinhong and said coldly, I know that you now have the ability to sweep through the Gale Abyss. I also understand that you have a backer that other demon spirits can't compare to. However, you can't casually slander Hu Jinhong just because of a little unpleasant memory from your childhood. You killed the Ape Clan and the Lion Clan, saved the Gale Abyss, and avenged the Python Clan. You are the hero of the Gale Abyss. Although Hu Jinhong didn't kill the Ape Clan and the Lion Clan, he came all the way back to fight the Ape Clan and the Lion Clan. He is also a hero. Really? Little White Dragon was furious. He spat out a dragon's breath like a hurricane and landed on Hu Yu and Hu Jinhong. The two giant pythons couldn't help but tremble. Even so, Hu Yu still raised her python head and said coldly to Little White Dragon, That's right. You are a hero, and so is he. All right. Suddenly, a smile appeared on Little White Dragon's cold face, and he shrugged his shoulders like a human. His dragon body trembled slightly, as if he was laughing so hard that his stomach hurt. He said, If you say so, then so be it. I just want to ask him what he was thinking back then. Hu Yu saw the sudden change in Little White Dragon's expression, and immediately realized that Little White Dragon was toying with Hu Jinhong. She was so angry and anxious that she almost wanted to use her python tail to slap Little White Dragon's face. Unfortunately, just as the Little White Dragon's body shrank back and looked at the Python tribe members who had looks of reverence and envy on their faces, but did not dare to approach them, Hu Yu felt her python body being pushed away by a powerful force. Then, another wave of scorching heat flipped her over. Roar. Behind Hu Yu, Little White Dragon's angry roar sounded. What's going on? Ming Yu was stunned. When she turned her head around, she saw that the Little White Dragon's body was deeply embedded in a nearby hill. In front of the Little White Dragon, Ming Hong's body was burning with black and red flames. His eyes were flashing with blood-red light as he stared fixedly at the Little White Dragon. The black and white flames dripped onto the ground, corroding a deep hole in the ground. Not only was Hu Yu shocked, but Little White Dragon also looked at Hu Jinhong in confusion. He didn't know why he suddenly attacked. That's right. Hu Jinhong looked at Little White Dragon and said with a cold arrogance, Hu Han, you're absolutely right. I could have taken you and Hu Yu with me that day. But why didn't I take you with me? That's because you're too close to Hu Yu. I won't allow any of the Python clan in Gale Abyss to have too much to do with Hu Yu. Unfortunately, you're so lucky that the dog spirit didn't dare to eat you. Remember Dark Wind? See. Little White Dragon sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that Dark Wind? That's right. I let Dark Wind get close to you, Hu Jinhong said coldly. I didn't expect you to come back alive. And you even wanted to transform into a dragon as if you were possessed. Of course I was wrong. I thought you'd lost your mind and wanted Dark Wind to kill you. But you're really lucky. Hu Jinhong, You. Without waiting for Little White Dragon to speak, Hu had already flown over and shouted, "Why are you like this? Why can't I be like this?" Hu Jinhong looked at Hu up and down and said, "I've always been like this. And I'll still be like this in the future. Of course, don't worry. In the future, I'll be the king of Gale Abyss. No, I'll be the king of this area. And you'll be the queen of this area." Could it be? Hu looked at the corpses of the Python clan in disbelief and exclaimed, "The deaths of these Gale Abyss spirits were all because of you." No. Hu Jinhong shook his head and said, "Of course it wasn't my idea. I only found out about it later. And for the existence of Gale Abyss, I had to make a deal with them. And Hu more than that, I did it for you. I want you to be the queen of the 10,000 demon realm. Your deal was to kill the Python clan and Snake clan of Gale Abyss. You can be the king yourself." Little White Dragon's face was full of disdain. He struggled out of the hill and looked coldly at Hu Jinhong. "And those who made the deal with you should be the king of the Ape clan and the king of the Lion clan, right? They are the reason why you dare to fall out with me now." "That's right. I should have been the one to end all of this, but now it's all because of you. What else can I do? I can only fall out with you." Yuan Shihong raised his eyes to look at the horizon. The dark clouds that filled the sky still had not dispersed. He said, "Moreover, although you are of the dragon race or something, although you already have the strength close to that of a star expert, but you will never know what this means behind the scenes. Not to mention that you are not a star expert. Even if you really were a star expert, you would still not be a match for 2 star experts." Boom boom. As he spoke, 2 loud roars sounded from the void not far away from the swift Gale Abyss. A giant silver ape that was several hundred feet long, and a golden lion that was even larger than the giant ape stepped out of the void proudly. 2 types of demon clan auras that were half as strong as the Little White Dragon surged out like a tidal wave and covered the swift Gale Abyss once again. To his surprise, the Little White Dragon was not as terrified as Yuan Shihong had imagined. Instead, it swept its gaze across the 2 giant apes, and its gaze landed on Yuan Shihong. After which, it asked indifferently, "Where are these Python clan members who have listened to your sincere wishes? How do you plan to deal with them?" "Haha, I know what you want me to say." Hu Jinhong did not hesitate in the face of Little White Dragon's questioning. He smiled and said, "You want to destroy my image in Hu Jinyu's heart, but why should I answer? Maybe we can talk after you survive the attack of 2 star masters." 2 star masters? Little White Dragon raised his head and looked at the Ape King and Lion King who were stepping on the demon cloud. He said calmly, "In my eyes they are 2 piles of shit." "Ha ha ha." Hu Jinhong laughed and said loudly, "If the 2 demon kings are 2 piles of shit, what about you?" Roar. Little White Dragon roared angrily. His dragon body flashed with golden light. His dragon claws pounced at the Golden Lion King as he shouted, "Hu Jinhong, do you think you are the only one with a backup plan? Do you know? My backup plan is 100 times more powerful than yours." "Is that so?" A mocking smile appeared on Hu Jinhong's face. He glanced at Hu Jinyu and said, "Then I would like to see who your helper is." At this time, Hu Jinyu's face was pale, even more so than the jade color on her python body. Sensing Hu Jinhong's gaze, Hu Jinyu's eyes showed a kind of disdain, a kind of disgust, and even a kind of mockery as if she was looking at a corpse. Hu Jinhong's heart thumped. Sure enough, roar roar. High up in the sky, there was a furious roar. A black bear several hundred feet in size pounced out. It was saying some unknown language. That huge bear paw raised rows of black shadows in midair, pouncing towards the silver giant ape. Chapter 4807. The giant bear paw covered half of the sky, tearing the void apart as it struck towards the giant ape. The giant ape was not simple as well. It opened its mouth and a silver beam of light shot out. At the same time, a few beams of light from the stars and moon fell from the sky, crashing into the giant ape's body. The giant ape's body was surrounded by shadows as it waved its arms like a ghost towards the bear paw. Boom! With a loud bang, the fierce black film of the bear's paw shattered. The silver light beam in the giant ape's mouth and the phantoms around its body also shattered. Moreover, the bear's paw's power was not exhausted. It hit the giant ape's arms and suddenly knocked it down from the sky. Roar! The black bear spirit roared towards the sky as it pounded its chest with its mountain-like arms. Hong hong hong! The giant beams of light from the stars and moon fell crazily. Instantly, the shadow of the black bear spirit, which was 100 feet taller than the giant ape's shadow, appeared. An indescribable deterrence was emitted from this shadow. Moon. Moon Elite? Hu Jinhong never thought that little white dragon would not only have a helper, but this helper was also a Moon Elite. Hu Jinhong was dumbfounded, looking at little white dragon again. Although his strength was not as strong as the Golden Lion King, his heavenly dragon speech technique was like a fish in water in the demon realm. Every time he chanted the dragon speech technique, a strong heaven-earth yuan qi would appear. The heavenly technique's power was twice as strong as the 3 continents. Not only could it block the Lion King's attack, it could even take the opportunity to counterattack many times. What was special was that although the Lion King could sometimes use his divine powers to attack Little White Dragon when he got close, the Lion King's claws would hit Little White Dragon's body without warning. However, the Dragon Clan's strong dragon body and the dragon horns on its head that could suppress hundreds of beasts helped Little White Dragon escape from the Lion King's attacks. After holding on for half a cup of tea's time, the black bear spirit who had the absolute advantage opened its mouth. Who? A thick demon cloud was spat out from its stomach. The demonic clouds were like ink as they dyed the area within a few miles. The giant silver ape was greatly alarmed. Silver light flashed in its eyes as a fire-like silver light appeared around its body. Its body moved in an attempt to charge out of the demonic cloud's encirclement. Whoosh! At this moment, the giant silver ape was gone. The shadow of a black bear emerged from the demonic cloud, its sharp claws whistling through the wind as it pierced towards the giant ape's heart. The giant ape roared and swung its arms, smashing them against the sharp claws. Puff! Where the ape's arm landed, the sharp claws turned into demonic clouds and dissipated. The shadow of the black bear was also distorted in the clouds. Boom! Without waiting for the giant ape to retract its arm, the sound of wind rose behind the giant ape again. This time, the sound of wind was completely different from the previous sound of wind. A powerful aura was approaching from the sky, as if it was real. Damn it! The huge ape hurriedly turned around, and a silver beam of light shot out from its mouth like a huge sword. However, before the huge silver sword could travel a few feet, the giant ape's body suddenly trembled. A pitch-black bear paw reached out from its silver-white chest, and a stream of blood flowed out from its silver-white fur. The giant ape lowered its head to look at the fatal bear paw on its chest. Then, it raised its head to look at the aura that was as solid as a wave. It asked in confusion, "You? Which one is the real you?" He. A low chuckle came from behind the giant ape. The black bear spirit's honest smile appeared from the distorted shadow. "The me behind is the real me. Didn't I tell you just now?" As he spoke, the black bear spirit pulled its paw out of the giant ape's body. Without any hesitation, it turned and pounced towards the giant golden lion. Damn it! The Lion King saw the giant ape's corpse fall into the deep lake. How could he dare to wait for the black bear spirit to come closer? He cursed and stomped his 4 paws. Layers of golden shadows flashed, and he was about to escape into the void. Hee. At this point, do you still want to leave? Little White Dragon sneered and chanted the heavenly dragon technique. Within 100 miles, the heaven and earth yuan qi surged. Layers of strange ripples spread out in all directions. Wherever the ripples passed, the void solidified. The Lion King's illusory body solidified once again. What kind of mystique is this? The Lion King asked. He did not ask for an answer. He only wanted to hide the fear in his heart. You will know when you die. The black bear spirit stepped on the wind and spoke calmly. That simple and honest face in front of Xiao Hua was just as ferocious in the eyes of the Lion King. The little white dragon also moved its dragon body and blocked the other side of the Lion King. In an instant, the Lion King's heart turned cold. He could already see his head being crushed by the black bear spirit's paw. However, at this moment, there was a rumbling sound in the space above the great ape's corpse. The space that was sealed by little white dragons started to shine. Pum. In the blink of an eye, the space 10,000 feet behind little white dragon shattered, and a gigantic great ape rushed out. The moment the great ape appeared, it saw the ape king that was killed by the black bear spirit. The great ape roared, "Who is it? Who dares to kill my ape grandson?" Following the giant ape's roar, the entire space within 1,000 miles shook. Countless waves of air rushed out. Not only were the trees and corpses sent flying, even the giant mountain rocks were overturned. The thunder and lightning that was triggered by little white dragon's appearance was swept away, revealing the clear sky. Great ape king. Ha. Yuan Shihong suddenly realized. He looked at little white dragon and shouted, "I was wondering why the ape king wasn't afraid of my python tribe's python king. He even swore that there would be no problems. So he was working for the great ape king. Lin Han, I'd like to see how you will face the great sage of the demon tribe." Great ape king, the golden lion king cried out. "It was this bear race and this unknown spirit race that killed the ape king. You must avenge him." Damn it. The great ape king stretched out his body like a demon. He glared at the lion king and roared, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you in such a remote place? Didn't Ape 9 want to give me a gift?" Yes. The lion king hurriedly nodded. 9 Ape and I are here to prepare a gift for the great sage and our rainbow lion king. But as for the specific location of the gift, we don't know yet. At hearing this, the great ape king suddenly realized something. Ignoring the lion king, he looked down at little white dragon and sneered, "You're a dragon? Where's the great sage of the dragon tribe whose name was engraved on the holy rankings?" "Let little white dragon go." The black bear spirit flew out righteously and blocked little white dragon's path. He said bravely, "I was the one who killed the little monkey. It has nothing to do with little white dragon." "What did you say?" The great ape king didn't understand what the black bear spirit was muttering. With a wave of his hand, the world darkened as if the sky was collapsing on the black bear spirit. "He's telling you that if you dare to attack, you'll end up like that little monkey. You'll die too." Seeing the black bear spirit's bravery, Xiaohua appeared out of thin air and said coldly. Along with Xiaohua's voice, Xiaohua extended a finger. That finger was like a star, and it lit up the entire sky. Moreover, as Xiaohua pointed his finger, boom. The sky that was originally collapsing suddenly flipped, and layers of spatial cracks fell towards the great ape king's body. The great sage of the human tribe, Xiaohua. The great ape king's eyes flashed with golden light. He spat out a mouthful of silver light, shattering the spatial cracks. Then he looked at Xiaohua thoughtfully and said, Great sage of the human tribe." Yuan Shihong fainted. He didn't expect that 2 great sages would appear in this small gale abyss. Although he didn't know what kind of spirit tribe the human tribe was, when he saw Xiaohua's mountain-like aura and vast temperament, then looked at the great ape king's somewhat fearful expression, he understood that he had provoked a spirit tribe that he shouldn't have. He had done something he shouldn't have done. Kill him. Xiaohua ignored the great ape king and looked at Yuan Shihong. "Yes, big brother." As little white dragon spoke, its eyes flashed with a fierce light. Its dragon horn flashed with multicolored light as it stabbed towards Yuan Shihong's heart. Yuan Shihong was shocked. He hurriedly struggled, wanting to dodge. Pooh. Unfortunately, just as he dodged little white dragon's dragon horn, the black bear spirit's bare paw had already pierced through his heart. Yuan Shihong turned his head with difficulty and shouted, You're still a full moon elite. How can you sneak attack me?" The black bear spirit didn't understand what Yuan Shihong was saying. He only smiled sincerely and shrugged. "Master said to kill you. That was his order. It has nothing to do with little white dragon." Unfortunately, Yuan Shihong would never hear what the black bear spirit said. The black bear spirit pulled his bare paw out of Yuan Shihong's corpse and looked at the Lion King again. At this time, the Lion King had already escaped from the black bear spirit and little white dragon's pincer attack. He quickly ran towards the great ape king. At this time, Xiaohua looked at the great ape king and said calmly, "I am Xiaohua. You must be a great sage of the demon tribe on the saint rankings. Tell me your name." The great ape king ignored Xiaohua. His eyes flashed with golden light as he looked around. After a while he said in surprise, Xiaohua, could it be that you're the only great sage of the human tribe here? What about the great sage of the dragon tribe, the great sage of the phoenix tribe, and the two great sages of the spirit tribe? Xiaohua looked at the great ape king and smiled. Facing a demon tribe member, who doesn't even dare to say his name, I alone am enough. Hee, I'm the great ape king. The great ape king was not angry. He said his name and looked around. He said in surprise, if you're the only great sage of the human tribe here, I definitely won't believe it. You're too calm. But if you say that all the other great sages are here, I also won't believe it. In this demon realm, is there a great sage who is more proficient in spatial concealment than me? Chapter 4808. As he spoke, Little White Dragon had already activated the Heavenly Dragon technique to block the Lion King. Meanwhile, the Black Bear spirit slowly flew behind the Lion King and waved its two huge paws. Another wave of demonic chi surged out that the Lion King was already having trouble dealing with the Little White Dragon. Now that the Black Bear spirit, who looked honest but was actually extremely cunning, he was no match for it. Looking at the Great Ape King in the distance, he hurriedly shouted, Great Sage, save me! That the Lion King's voice was still floating in the air, but Little White Dragon's Heavenly Dragon technique had already covered his voice. The Black Bear spirit also swayed and rushed to the Lion King's side. Little White Dragon and the Black Bear spirit were not afraid of the Great Ape King at all, because they knew that Xiaohua would definitely not let the Great Ape King near the Lion King. However, the Black Bear spirit and Little White Dragon were still thinking too much. When Little White Dragon tangled with the Lion King, the Black Bear spirit tore the Lion King apart with two huge paws. The Great Ape King also had no intention of making a move. Xiaohua stood in the air thoughtfully, looking at the Great Ape King and smiling. Why don't you make a move? Don't you want to test my strength? The Great Ape King replied. There's plenty of time to test your strength. Why the rush? Since he came with my 9-ape demon spirit, how can I let him go back unharmed? Haha. Xiaohua raised his hand and rubbed his nose. He looked around and laughed. I'm afraid that's not your only plan? That's right. Although the Great Ape King looked ferocious and arrogant, he did not hide his thoughts. He said, Yellow Lion is also the Rainbow Lion King's favorite son. This Black Bear killed Yellow Lion. How can the Rainbow Lion King not come? That's right, that's right. Xiaohua nodded. How can something that can directly present a gift to the great sage of the demon race be ordinary? Swish, swish, swish. Just as they were talking, there was the sound of rain falling not far away in the sky. Strands of 9 colors gushed out like fireworks. Roar. A lion's roar that shook the heavens and earth came out from behind the fireworks. Following this lion's roar, all the 9 colors condensed into one place and turned into a huge rainbow bridge. When the rainbow bridge took shape, it quickly streaked across the space. When the rainbow bridge shrank, the silhouette of a huge lion was revealed. Buzz, buzz. A low buzzing sound like a bee flapping its wings sounded. Waves of spatial fluctuations and light beams of the moon and stars blasted in. The huge monster body of the Rainbow Lion King was revealed. Ah! Great Ape King! The Rainbow Lion King cried out in disbelief as he saw the Great Ape King. After that, his gaze landed on Xiaohua. Xiaohua narrowed his eyes as he growled. The great sage of the human race, Xiaohua. That's right. Xiaohua nodded. You are the Rainbow Lion King? You dare to kill my son? The Rainbow Lion King roared angrily as a 9-colored rainbow appeared around him. Not only did I kill your son, but I also killed the Great Ape King's son. Xiaohua casually raised his hand and pointed below him. Because they were looking for some bullshit gift for you two great sages. They almost wiped out the Gale Abyss from the 10,000 demon realm. Master. At this moment, the Black Bear spirit swaggered a few steps forward and bowed respectfully. This little one has obeyed Master's orders and killed those 2 damn things. That's right. Xiaohua nodded. Go and ask the Python clan of the Gale Abyss what gift they were looking for and what other plans they have. Yes, Master. The Black Bear spirit replied respectfully. His gaze was only on Xiaohua. He didn't even look at the two great sages who usually called the wind and rain in the 10,000 demon realm. Dragon Clan. The Rainbow Lion King didn't care about the black bear spirit. However, when he saw the little white dragon, he was extremely shocked. Then he looked at the great ape king as if he understood something. Fellow Daoistian, please come out. Xiaohua cupped his fists and said pretentiously to the distant sky. Reverend Yun let out a deep dragon roar. Countless dragon runes surged out from the sky. A dragon aura that could suppress heaven and earth rushed into the sky uncontrollably. Reverend Yun's mighty dragon body flew out from the light. The Rainbow Lion King's expression changed. Not only because Reverend Yun's aura was slightly stronger than his, but also because he couldn't sense where Reverend Yun flew out from. This wasn't a common spatial escape technique in the 10,000 demon realm, nor was it a natural ability of the demon race. Rainbow Lion King. The Great Ape King said. This is the Great Sage Yin of the Dragon Clan. If the Swift Cherry Great Sage's guess is correct, the top 6 Great Sages on the Saint ranking are together. If I'm not mistaken, the 2 Great Sages of the Phoenix Clan and the 2 Great Sages of the Spirit Clan are nearby as well. What do you think? Do you want to fight with him? Damn it! The Rainbow Lion King cursed in his heart. How could he not know the Great Ape King's intentions? Moreover, he also knew that the Great Ape King was in the same awkward situation as him. Firstly, his son was killed. If he didn't do anything, his reputation would be tarnished. Secondly, if it were any other great sages from the 10,000 demon realm, he wouldn't be afraid of them. However, the Rainbow Lion King was facing a great sage from another realm. He didn't know how strong his opponent was at all. Moreover, his opponent wasn't just one great sage but 6 great sages. He and the Great Ape King were just 2 great sages. How could they be a match for 6 great sages? Moreover, even if there were 4 more great sages, the other 4 great sages wouldn't fight with unknown great sages for the sake of 2 insignificant great sages from the Ape Clan and the Lion Clan. Seeing the Rainbow Lion King hesitating, Xiaohua smiled and cupped his fists towards the distance. If that's the case, fellow Taoist, please come out and meet me. Boom. Just as Xiaohua's voice fell, tens of thousands of thunderbolts descended, sealing off an area of 1,000 miles. Heavenly lightning wreaked havoc in the sky. When it reached a certain point, it fell again, and a Thunder Dharma body appeared out of thin air. The Thunder Immortal appeared between heaven and earth. Hiss! The Rainbow Lion King sucked in a breath of cold air. He looked at the thunderbolts in the sky in disbelief and exclaimed, Thunder Spirit Great Sage? I am the Thunder Immortal. The Thunder Immortal's gaze was like lightning. He glanced at the Rainbow Lion King with disdain and said coldly, You dare to fight with this old man? Master. While the great sages were weighing the pros and cons, the black bear spirit flew over and said respectfully, This little one is wrong. Oh. Xiaohua asked curiously, What did you do wrong? This little one killed all the Ape Clan and Lion Clan that invaded the Gale Abyss. That's why I couldn't find out why they were here. The black bear spirit replied indifferently, Please punish me, master. What crime? Xiaohua waved his hand and said, What about the Python clan of the Gale Abyss? Master. The black bear spirit's face was once again filled with sincerity as he replied, This lowly one has already investigated. The ape tribe and the lion tribe have already acted 100 years ago for some unknown conspiracy. They've killed the elders of the Gale Abyss. Furthermore, they've used force to divide the Python tribe and the Snake tribe into 2 factions. About 100,000 people have died from the mutual slaughter. In the past 10 days, they've killed another 200,000 people from the Python tribe and the Snake tribe in order to support a member of the Python tribe called Ma Hong as their puppet. Alright, no need to say any more. Xiaohua nodded. They deserve to die. This master will reward you later. Thank you, master. A smile appeared on the black bear spirit's face, and he retreated to the side. In the distance, Little White Dragon carefully protected Hu Yu. As for the other Python clan and Snake clan, they were afraid of Little White Dragon's dragon might, and didn't dare to come close. Ha ha ha, is this for this sage to hear? The Great Ape King laughed wildly and said angrily, It's just a group of lowly pythons. It's their fortune to be killed by my Ape 9. Xiaohua. Let this sage see your strength." While speaking, the great ape king touched his waist and took out an iron rod that was more than 1,000 zhang long. He raised it up and made a gesture of burning the sky, and shouted, "Xiaohua, eat this sage's rod." Seeing that the great ape king was also using a rod, Xiaohua was stunned for a moment and laughed. "Haha, it's only a th. I'll let you see this Zhao's means." After speaking, Xiaohua reached out and took out the wishful staff. His body flashed and the staff rushed towards the great ape king like a mountain. Damn it! The great ape king had the same thought as Xiaohua. He was somewhat amazed by the wonders of this world. An outer realm great saint actually used a rod like him. Seeing the weight of Xiaohua's wishful staff and the exquisiteness of Xiaohua's rod technique, he couldn't help but curse in his heart. "Spiritual Master Yin, support me." The Thunderbolt Spiritual Master saw Xiaohua making a move and his heart itched. He hurriedly shouted, "I want to meet the great saint of the 10,000 demon realm." Thunderbolt Spiritual Master. Who knew that Spiritual Master Yin also hurriedly shouted, "What are you fighting for? I came out first. Let I meet this lion race first." "What are you shouting for?" The Thunderbolt Spiritual Master said unhappily, "I'm the second master of the Fortune Gate. Who are you listening to? You are supporting the second master from the side." The Rainbow Lion King was shocked to see Reverend Yun and Thunder Reverend quarreling with each other. In the 10,000 demon realm, there were demons who dared to challenge a great saint, but it was the first time he saw these two fighting to the death with him. Especially when he heard that the Thunderbolt Spiritual Master was only the second master of the Fortune Gate. He understood that. He was afraid that he would have to face a battle of attrition. "What's the hurry? You all have a share." The Rainbow Lion King roared. "Wait until this sage defeats the lightning spirit. Then I'll fight with the dragon race. I'll let you all know how powerful this sage is." As he spoke, the Rainbow Lion King's body swayed. With a wave of his lion claws, the space several hundred li in front of the Thunderbolt Spiritual Master was lifted up. The lion claws turned into a huge light shadow, grabbing the collapsed space in its hands. An earth-shattering whistling sound rang out from the glowing figure, enveloping the space around the Thunderbolt Immortal. Moreover, where this force landed, countless tiny rainbows poured in like threads of light, and a strange force imprisoned the space. Give it a recommendation vote, collect it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4809. The Thunderbolt Immortal smiled and rubbed his hands together. Boom boom boom. Several thick bolts of lightning were produced from his hands. When they fell into the air, they turned into several huge dragons and flew in all directions. Wherever the thunder dragons passed, the confined space broke apart inch by inch. The rainbow-colored light that gushed out was also swallowed by the thunder dragons. Rumble. The Thunderbolt Immortal stopped his technique and stretched out his right hand again. The entire space was shaking. A huge fist condensed from 9 heavens divine thunder broke through the air and met the light and shadow condensed from space at heavens. Is this a battle between great sages? Seeing the firmament collapsing, the stars falling, and the thunder defending against the enemy, whether it was the sun or the vast sun, they were colorless. The entire world only had the figures of the Rainbow Lion King and the Thunderbolt Immortal. Their eyes were filled with endless magical powers, and their ears were filled with rumbling sounds. Just the leaked power pushed down the mountain peak. Just the falling multicolored light shattered the deep pool. Shuiyu's eyes were filled with incomparable surprise, and she couldn't help but groan in a low voice. Not bad. The little white dragon in front of her not only blocked the flying rocks and trees, but also built up her confidence. This is the power of a great sage. However, I still have to tell you, everything in front of you is just a test. The great sages and my big brother have not used their most powerful techniques. They will not fight to the death for a few little monkeys and lions. Boom boom boom. At this time, several rumbling sounds rang out in succession. High up in the sky, several parts of the void were shattered by the collision between the great ape king's iron staff and Xiaohua's wishful staff. In a moment, from the void rushed out a chi wave more turbulent than the waves of the sea. This chi wave fell from the sky and set off a gale. Amidst the raging wind, the water in the lake cracked, the rocks were sent flying, and amidst the blood, many corpses of pythons were turned into meat paste. Shuiyu murmured again. When can I cultivate to such a level? There's still me. The little white dragon's dragon tail rolled slightly, and landed on top of Shuiyu's python tail. Shuiyu's python body trembled a few times. She lowered her head and said, You're only a star master. There's still a long way to go before you reach great sage. Furthermore, you're going to leave with the great sage of the human race eventually. The little white dragon's dragon tail gradually wrapped around Huyu's python tail, and the powerful yang energy caused Huyu's python body to tremble even more. Huyu was unable to resist the natural attractive force. Just as Huyu was about to say something, little white dragon's words made her heart tremble. No, the little white dragon said. Gale Abyss is my home. Since I've returned, I won't leave again. Of course, even if I leave, it will only be temporary. I will definitely return. After all, you're here, and the millions of clan spirits. Huyu actually wanted to talk about herself, but she changed her mind when she was about to say it. They are just pythons. How can they see into the eyes of a dragon like you? Pythons and dragons are also part of the dragon race. The little white dragon smiled and said, Besides, I used to be a python too, and an inconspicuous little white snake. You don't worry. The Gale Abyss will no longer be the Gale Abyss of the past. In the future, the Gale Abyss will definitely be the center of attention of the 10,000 demon realm. You will also witness the birth of a great sage of the dragon race, a dragon sage from the Gale Abyss. Bayu's heart melted. Just as she was about to open her mouth to speak, another two loud rumbling sounds were heard. Ha ha ha. The great ape king's wild laughter was heard again. The thunderous rumbling sounds fell like thunder, scaring Bayu so much that her body trembled. Little white dragon's dragon claws slightly pulled Bayu's python head to his neck. One python and one dragon were glued to each other like glue, watching the battle between the great saints on the ground. This little lascivious dragon. In the distance, the black bear spirit stood quietly at a low altitude, secretly cursing. He moved his gaze away from the entangled python and dragon, and looked at the sky. At this time, Xiaohua's body flashed with a dark golden brilliance, like a demon god. He was waving his staff to send the great ape king flying. Seeing the great ape king's incomparable power, he couldn't help but frown. It was not that Xiaohua had never met an opponent with great strength, but the great ape king was clearly one of the few opponents he had met in his life. Not only was the great ape king's staff powerful, but his staff technique was also very powerful. It was comparable to his own heavenly staff technique. In this moment of fighting, Xiaohua not only did not gain the upper hand, but his arms were also a little sore. This was something he had rarely seen before. Seeing the great ape king rolling in the air, looking like he was about to pounce again, Xiaohua sneered. Since he had already moved his muscles and bones, his attitude had already been clear. If the great ape king still didn't know what was good for him, Xiaohua didn't mind killing him here. Haha. Just when Xiaohua's heart was filled with killing intent, the great ape king laughed loudly. His two claws tore the void, and his figure fell into it. He shouted, Refreshing, refreshing, Xiaohua. I have already enjoyed myself to the fullest today. When I have time in the future, I will find you to fight again. After saying that, the great ape king's figure disappeared. Damn it. The Rainbow Lion King roared when he saw the great ape king leaving without a shred of integrity as a great saint. He was currently trapped by Thunderbolt Reverend's thunder technique, and the whole space was sealed, making it impossible for him to tear the void apart. Moreover, once the great ape king left, if Thunderbolt Reverend had the intention to kill him, he would definitely be on guard against his escape. It was no different from daydreaming for him to escape from the siege of 3 great saints. Huh? Seeing the great ape king trying to escape, Reverend Yun laughed loudly. His dragon body swayed, and thousands of dragon shadows rushed out, blocking the Rainbow Lion King's escape route. Meanwhile, Xiaohua waved his wishful staff. Woo, woo, woo. A ghostly wail was heard, and his huge golden body shattered the void, blocking the other side of the Rainbow Lion King. His eyes flashing with golden light were full of mockery. The great Ape King's action of dying a fellow Taoist rather than dying was deeply engraved in his heart. Although Reverend Yun and Xiao Hua were just standing in midair and did not attack, the pressure they were exerting was equivalent to half of Thunderbolt Reverend. The Rainbow Lion King was a little confused, as if he could see the tragedy of his own death. However, just when the Rainbow Lion King was pondering how to deal with it, woo! A strange sound came from the distant sky. Then layers upon layers of wind whistled. The wind whistled so loudly and so powerfully that it caused Xiao Hua and the others to be slightly sideways. Naturally, Xiao Hua released his divine sense and looked into the distance. However, as soon as he released his divine sense, a strange expression appeared on his face. This was because in the distant horizon, the space within several hundred miles had strangely collapsed. The collapsed void formed into strange rings, and these rings fell to the ground. At the same time, around the collapsed rings, waves of energy were generated and spread in all directions. Wherever the waves passed, the energy of heaven and earth turned into threads of crystal light and fell into the void. Even more so, as the energy of heaven and earth collided, hurricanes were generated within several thousand miles, and the 5 elements in the entire space showed signs of chaos. When Xiao Hua's divine sense fell into the ripples, it was torn to shreds. Xiao Hua was stunned for a moment, then he was ecstatic. He had seen this scene when he was in the ruins. Wasn't it the strange phenomenon when the magnetism was born? Damn it! This Xiao understands now. Xiao Hua was overjoyed. The metal and wood mountain little white dragon mentioned is in that direction. Moreover, the metal and wood mountain range also has magnetism. Although I don't know how the Grand Mist Ancestor got the Jade Eye. If the Jade Eye came from the 10,000 demon world, then the Grand Mist Ancestor didn't lie to this Xiao. The metal and wood mountain range is where the magnetism I'm looking for is located. No. The Jade Eye didn't come from the 10,000 demon world because there is no Jade Eye in the 10,000 demon world. Moreover, the language recorded in the 10,000 demon world is definitely not the language recorded in the Jade Eye. If the 10,000 demon world had a Jade Eye that spread to the 3 continents, then where did this Xiao obtain the merit of splitting open the heavens? The Grand Mist Ancestor must have lied to this Xiao, using the name of the metal and wood mountain range to lure this Xiao into a trap. But the 10,000 demon world really does have a metal and wood mountain range, and this metal and wood mountain range really does have magnetism, but I don't know if this magnetism is the metal and wood magnetism. Boom boom. Just as Xiao Hua was thinking, another strange phenomenon fell from the sky. A huge rainbow seemed to come from the sky, passing through the collapsed void and falling to the ground. This rainbow was 5 colors: red, black, green, white, and yellow were the 5 primary colors. At the end of this huge rainbow, there was a huge halo flashing, and the shadows of the vermilion bird, black tortoise, azure dragon, white tiger, and Qilin vaguely appeared. A huge pressure enveloped the surrounding 10,000 miles, including the swift wind abyss. Furthermore, right at the edge of this aura, the great Ape King's silver body also emerged from the void. His eyes were also filled with joy as he looked at the rainbow. Roar! A deafening sound came from where the rainbow fell, and a huge silver-white tiger spirit shadow rushed out from the ground, roaring at the sky, and countless rainbows fell into its mouth. Roar! At the same time, at the other end of the rainbow, another dragon roar came out, and a huge azure dragon spirit shadow rushed into the sky, and at the place where it opened its mouth, there were also rainbows falling in. Ah! Wonderful, wonderful! The great Ape King laughed, and the silver light around his body flashed, tearing the shackles of the sky, and forcibly flying towards the rainbow. Metal and wood origin spirit? The Rainbow Lion King, who was trapped by Xiao Hua, saw the strange situation in the distance, and couldn't help but cry out. This sage understands what the yellow lion wants to offer to this sage. Is this metal and wood origin spirit? Chapter 48:10. Rainbow Lion King. Xiao Hua's loud shout is like a clap of thunder. He shouts, This Xiao wants this metalwood origin spirit. If you want it, leave your life here. Fellow Thunder Daoist, fellow Dragon Daoist, guard this place. Give Rainbow Lion King a cup of tea's time to consider. If he doesn't leave, kill him immediately. After he finished speaking, Xiao Hua's figure flickered and he actually used the metal escape technique. Like a swimming fish, he freely flew towards the metal and wood dual boundary mountain. His speed was much faster than the Great Ape King's. Rainbow Lion King's face showed hesitation, but he sneered in his heart. The metalwood origin spirit was a rare thing in the 10,000 demon realm. As long as one was fated to obtain it, his strength would definitely increase greatly, especially for a wood attribute great saint like himself. Obtaining the wood origin spirit would definitely surpass the laws of the 10,000 demon realm. Similarly, as a metal attribute Great Ape King, he naturally wanted the metalwood origin spirit. In the face of such a temptation, how could Great Ape King and Rainbow Lion King give up? Of course, Rainbow Lion King also knew that although he and Great Ape King were facing the great saints of the Human Clan, Dragon Clan, and Thunder Spirit Great Saint, once the metalwood origin spirit appeared, the other great saints would definitely come. At that time, even if Xiao Hua and the other great saints appeared at the same time, they would definitely not be a match for the great saints of the 10,000 demon realm. Of course, what Rainbow Lion King thought of, Great Ape King also thought of, but Great Ape King was one step ahead of him. Naturally, Great Ape King would not give in and wanted to compete with Xiao Hua's speed. Xiao Hua coldly snorted, looked up and shouted, "Fellow Taoists, please make your move." Gee. In the distant sky, a phoenix cry sounded, and Feng Wu and Huang Tong's huge figures appeared. Spreading their wings, they flew through the layers of restrictions and landed on top of Great Ape King's head. Hiss. Great Ape King saw the two great saints of the Phoenix clan appear, and couldn't help but be surprised. How can the strength of these two great saints be so unfathomable? The space where the metalwood origin spirit appears is imprisoned. Even this saint can't escape, but they are still hiding in the space. How can this saint be their opponent? Damn it. Why haven't the other great sages come yet? Great Ape King. Feng Wu's figure descended, and the brilliance of the stars and moon around him was like a waterfall. The shadow on his demon body gave off a ferocious aura comparable to that of the Great Ape King. He opened his mouth and said, "If you know what's good for you, you'll still be the great saint of the 10,000 demon realm. We're just passers-by in the 10,000 demon realm. We won't leave any trace in the sky of the 10,000 demon realm." Huang Tong did not reveal any power of the stars and moon. However, there was a layer of spatial laws around him that distorted the void. Not only was his figure unclear, but his voice was also stretched out. If you don't know what's good for you, the 10,000 demon realm will have one less great saint. In the history of the 10,000 demon realm, there will be an immortal legend. Damn it! Are you threatening me? The Great Ape King roared. Huang Tong faintly glanced at him. He had already blocked his path with Feng Wu. He said, "That's all you have to say. As for what I mean, you can think whatever you want." Ayo. Ayo. The Great Ape King was enraged. As he roared, he opened his mouth and a giant whirlpool appeared above his head. The whirlpool was silver white, and threads of light crazily swam within it. Woo. Woo. Amidst the howling of the wind, countless pillars of light fell from the sky. They passed through the silver whirlpool and turned into a thick crystal light that fell into the Great Ape King's mouth. Wang. Wang. A silver white light screen appeared above the Great Ape King's body. Within this light screen, the Great Ape King suddenly grew to 1,000 feet tall. What was special was that as the Great Ape King's body grew, his body became transparent. A kind of sharpness of a flying sword rushed out from this transparent silver-white light and surged towards Feng Wu and Huang Tong. Roar. It was as if the white tiger had sensed the golden spiritual energy around the Great Ape King. The white tiger also let out a roar and wanted to charge into the rainbow. Unfortunately, no matter how hard the white tiger tried, its forepaws were still trapped on the ground. Similarly, on the other side of the rainbow, the azure dragon was also struggling. However, its tail was as heavy as a ton, so it couldn't fly. Woo. Seeing that it couldn't break free, The white tiger opened its mouth and a pillar of silver light fell into the whirlpool above the great ape king's head. With a bang, the whirlpool shattered and the pillar of light entered the great ape king's mouth. Wong. The great ape king's body trembled, and the silver light around his body began to fold. After a moment, there were two roars and the great ape king turned into a two-headed, four-armed spirit statue. The great ape king waved his two arms and took out his iron staff again. This time, the iron staff emitted a silver light and smashed toward Fengwu even more fiercely than before. At the same time, the great ape king's other two arms were like giant swords that split the void. Several rays of dark space energy fell like spider tentacles toward Huang Tong. Seeing the great ape king attack, the Rainbow Lion King looked around and knew that many great saints were about to arrive. He roared, "Haha, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. This is the 10,000 demon realm. If you want to take the metal and wood spirit from the 10,000 demon realm, then you'll have to step over this saint's body." That as he spoke, the Rainbow Lion King's body surged with a nine-colored brilliance once more. This nine-colored brilliance was different from before. As soon as it appeared, it was as if a hole had opened in the heavens. Countless beams of starlight and moonlight fell down, forming a thin void barrier around the Rainbow Lion King. Within this barrier, tens of thousands of stars flashed. It was extremely beautiful. Roar! The Rainbow Lion King opened its mouth, and a nine-colored rainbow bridge charged into the void barrier and disappeared. A moment later, this rainbow bridge appeared next to the rainbow near the Goldwood primordial spirit. As this rainbow bridge entered the rainbow, the roaring azure dragon was also delighted. Boom boom! Several clear rays of light were spat out. These clear rays of light seemed to pass through the void and instantly fell near the Rainbow Lion King. Roar! The Rainbow Lion King let out a low roar. It raised its right claw and slapped towards the Thunder Reverend, that wherever the lion claws passed by, light and shadows would disappear. Countless pitch-black colors mixed with green filled up the space. Waves of rumbling sounds rang out in the pitch-black, as if endless small worlds were being created and destroyed within it. Upon seeing this, Thunderbolt Immortal dared not to be careless. He clenched his right fist. Amidst the flashing of lightning and the roaring of thunder, a courage that could split the heaven and earth was born. His fist met the lion's attack with the power of life and death. Since the Rainbow Lion King had made his move, Reverend Yun naturally would not sit still and watch. He knew very well that Xiaohua, who had always left some leeway to his enemies, had rarely issued an order to kill, because in Xiaohua's eyes, although gold and wood were the materials used to forge the wishful staff of 5 elements, they were also the sharp weapon that could topple the 3 peaks of heaven, earth and man, and also the foundation that could save the billions of living beings in the 3 continents. Compared to the billions of living beings, Xiaohua naturally ignored the Rainbow Lion King's arrogance. Reverend Yun recited the heavenly dragon spell from his mouth. In the space confined by the goldenwood spirit, countless dragon runes emerged, and a fierce aura of dragon that could fight against the heaven and earth gushed out crazily. After that, Reverend Yun raised his 5-clawed dragon claw. A golden light that could restrain all evils shone from the claw as it fell onto the Rainbow Lion King's head. Xiaohua did not hesitate to expose his true strength. He asked Thunderbolt Immortal and Reverend Yun to work together to stop the Rainbow Lion King, and asked Feng Wu and Huang Tong to work together to stop the Great Ape King. He was afraid that the 2 great saints from the demon realm would have some special divine ability that they could use before him. Therefore, he exercised the escape art of gold, and quickly approached the rainbow that fell from the sky. At this moment, where the rainbow shrouded, the power of the 5 elements had already been shattered and thrown into disorder. The twisted laws of heaven and earth fell down like a huge ring, and the aftershocks were even more vast than the waves of the sea as they pounced toward Xiaohua. Xiaohua smiled bitterly, and was once again bewildered. How can this metal and wood magnetism have such power? Could it be that even the gold and wood spirit can turn into spirits in the demon realm? Xiaohua's guess was right. The closer he got to the gold and wood spirit, the stranger and stranger the power of primordial spirit was, and it was trying its best to reach Xiaohua. If it was an ordinary human cultivator, they would be helpless in this place. Not only was the primordial chi of heaven and earth in disorder, they could not use their magic power, but the 5 elements in the corporeal body also made them unable to get close. Xiaohua was naturally different. His chaotic body did not have any attributes, and now under the resistance of the gold primordial spirit, he was using the escape art of gold. The so-called resistance was just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Oh! Seeing Xiaohua waving his hand, the thunderbolt hand fell and crushed the power of primordial spirit. The white tiger let out a wail. Its body shone brightly, and the space several miles to the left instantly turned silvery white. An extreme coldness came out from this silvery white color. The white tiger rolled its tail and escaped from the rainbow, turning around and wanting to land on the ground. Xiaohua laughed and said loudly, "Since you're here, why leave?" Immediately, Xiaohua's body flashed with lightning, and a shadow appeared. A distorted light stretched out, and the silvery white space was instantly penetrated. Xiaohua, who used the escape art of lightning, swept over the white tiger's head at a speed 100 times faster than the white horse flees the rift. He actually rushed to the azure dragon on the other side of the rainbow. The moment Xiaohua swept past the white tiger, a drop of blood was smeared on the white tiger's forehead. Roar! The blood fell on the white tiger's forehead, and a golden light shone. The white tiger let out a wail, and the silver light around its body rushed towards the golden light on its forehead. Unfortunately, before the silver light could converge, the golden light had already turned into golden threads and penetrated the white tiger. The blood color also began to spread all over the white tiger's forehead. The great ape king waved his iron staff and tried his best to resist the phoenix Wu's wings. His eyes looked at Xiaohua in the distance. Seeing Xiaohua rush into the rainbow, the great ape king was shocked and angry. Damn it! The moment the great ape king was distracted, Huang Tong's sharp claws landed on the great ape king's silver arm. Gotcha! The sound of cracking could be heard, and the indestructible arm shattered. What scared the great ape king the most was that when his demon body shattered, he also felt his primordial spirit shatter. He really didn't know what kind of technique Huang Tong, who came from another world, used. Give it a recommendation vote, collect it, and thank you for all your support. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.